Totes Recall.
Welcome to Totes Recall, the podcast where we talk about a movie we can't remember very well. Push pause on the recording. Eat 2 pizzas and 2 salads. Thank you, patrons. Come back. Record a second half of the episode. We've now watched the movie in question. And we talk about it again from a more educated standpoint. My name is Dan.
This is Molly.
I'm also Dan.
And I'm Beth.
And our movie this very special episode is Pinocchio.
What's special about the episode?
Oh, it's our annual Disney animated classic episode.
Oh, great.
For Valentine's Day.
For Valentine's Day, the most romantic of genres, children's movies made by Megacorp.
All right. Have we done a non-Disney one yet for this?
No.
Okay.
No, it's always Disney.
Always cracking open the vaults.
Always cracking it.
Okay.
The vault.
Is this a romantic movie?
I mean, what is love?
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
The love between a father and his puppet who becomes a boy.
The love between a gentleman cricket and his friends.
Oh, and the love between a cat.
What?
Right?
There's a kitty cat?
What?
There's a black and white cat.
I think so.
Geppetto has a cat.
Oh, yes. Geppetto is a very fluffy cat.
Really?
Geppetto is the cat.
Geppetto's the
that'd be amazing.
dad.
As the dad.
Woodcarver.
Woodcarver.
What if the
but we
cat
don't
is
know what-
also named Geppetto?
That would be amazing.
Geppetto Jr.
Geppetto, because you Geppet it.
I love that. Wow. Okay, I've suddenly decided Geppetto is an incredible cat name.
That's a t-shirt, I feel like.
Yeah, it is. Geppetto because Geppetto.
I want to Geppet it.
That's
and
great.
then it's Geppetto petted his cat.
Incredible. I mean, we'd have to check our design on Geppetto to make sure we don't get
Sure.
sued
I
into
mean,
oblivion.
this is an old-timey Italian tale, right? The Disney
Yeah.
Hornswoggled?
What?
Is that?
I don't think so.
Hornswoggle.
Tell us what you think that
Yeah.
means.
Stole.
Okay. I have no idea.
I thought hornswoggle was like a nicer term for BS.
Oh.
Or for
Horsepucky.
Hogwash.
or
Hogwash.
tricking someone out of, but not like
That's sort of
stealing.
like stealing,
tricking,
right?
yeah.
I think there's a trickstery
Hogs.
element.
I mean, I guess not all stealing is hornswoggling, but hornswoggling is stealing. Is that what we're here saying?
Yeah. It's like a scam.
Hornswoggle also sounds like a creature that the Mad Hatter would be talking about for too long in Alice in Wonderland.
Lewis
Right?
Carroll
Yeah.
creation.
Yeah.
Well, second half, maybe we'll look up Hornswoggle.
Please do. Here's what I remember about this movie.
Swoggle.
It's fun to say. Wait, wasn't Swoggle the name of the weird Muppet man in the Labyrinth?
I don't know.
Okay. Great.
I mean, we have watched that movie, but I
Correct.
don't remember. Wasn't it like Swizzler or
Sloper.
Sloper? Maybe Sloper.
Here's what I remember about the movie Pinocchio.
Yeah.
This one. There's so many of them, but this is the one that was the most famous for a while, probably still. But there's some other ones out there.
Yeah, didn't...
Del Toro just made one that
that's
was
the guy.
good. I liked
Yeah.
that one a lot. It was very cool.
Didn't Life is Beautiful guy? Wasn't he a Pinocchio?
Yeah. He was the Pinocchio?
Wasn't he a Pinocchio?
Like he was Pinocchio? Like as
Yes?
a middle-aged man, he played Pinocchio?
Maybe?
Oh, wow.
It's like a post-origin story.
Yeah,
Like,
maybe. Like he's grown up, gotten married.
I'm having a memory of a Pinocchio that came out in the 90s or the 2000s.
There's an Uncanny Valley one
With like a
from...
dunce cap on? and, like,
Yeah.
looks like a clown kind
And
of?
so
That's what I'm thinking of.
my dad used to work at a film shipping place. So like they would ship film to there and then they would ship the film to the local movie theaters from that location.
a distributor.
Yes. And so we used to get a bunch of fun like movie stuff.
Yeah.
And I had a CD for the soundtrack of that, and the CD was shaped like Pinocchio. And I still don't understand how that works.
It wasn't sphere? It wasn't
It wasn't
round?
a circle. It was shaped like
Oh,
Pinocchio.
like it was actually like
I tried to-
stencil cut out
Yeah.
into his head.
I tried to
Was
find
it
it
a
on the
laser
internet.
disc?
No, it was a CD.
Wild. Also, I want to say, it was a distributor. I just said that a few minutes ago, and I'm already embarrassed. This is the first time I ever really thought about what a distributor is. So
Say
that
more.
was, I mean, I understand what a distributor is, but you know how you don't think about it that hard, and then someone explains it to you, and you say it out loud, and then 2 minutes later you're on a podcast, and you think, I sounded like a 10-year-old going, ooh, did you know they call an orange because of the color?
I did know that.
And if when they tackle the quarterback, it's called a sack.
Hey, local
How is that
How is
local?
that local?
Our country's big game is coming up.
Oh, local, like for the United
Super
States of
Bowl?
America?
Yeah,
That's in February.
It
This
will have
is March
already
1st,
happened when this
15th.
episode comes out.
sure.
This is February
15th.
15th.
Wait, when is the Super Bowl then?
February 11th, I think. It just happened.
Oh, okay. Go.
Niners.
Sure.
And happy birthday, Jill.
Although now I
Also,
guess
a
the
bow
deep
down
state-
to Taylor Swift's deep state.
what the fuck?
We could do an entire podcast about that.
Oh, about this deep state business with. I
It's
am
amazing.
just
Pinocchio.
genuinely like interested in this one because one thing that I really appreciate about this particular scandal
Yeah.
is I feel like or
scandal.
this particular conspiracy theory situation
Yeah.
is that usually it subsumes or brings down the person that's the target of it.
Right.
But I love how Taylor Swift just is not pull downable by this particular force. I don't think.
It's too stupid.
Yeah,
right?
well,
Like-
but that's not. I mean, there's so many things that are too dumb.
Yeah.
But they persist in the world. But somehow this is like.
I think it's because usually they're stupid, but they're also kind of gross. And like the like through line of this one is literally just like something like very rich person is working with very rich sports organization to somehow undermine other very rich men and their political pursuits. That somehow, I'm sure it somehow involves like demasculating the popular. You know what I mean? Like it always goes to a place that's like way nuttier. But yeah. Anyway, Super Bowl.
Speaking of someone who might make a bowl, a wood carver will make a bowl out of wood, and Geppetto is our primary wood carver in Pinocchio.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe our only.
Yeah, he longs for a boy,
Ugh.
and he's pretty old.
Yeah.
He's like a grandpa, but maybe it's just old times where he's like 35.
Exactly.
It's on death's door.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he wants a son?
He wants a son. Yeah, it's better to say it that way than he wants a boy.
Give me a boy.
I mean, I know the story of Pinocchio, but I have never seen this movie.
Is that true?
Oh. Wow.
Wow.
We fucked up.
We fucked up big time.
Union
Wow.
Strong, 60-second pre-call starring Beth K. Gibbs.
Well, I mean-
It's too late. We're
Okay.
doing it. Are you ready?
Yes.
And go.
Okay, Geppetto is a wood carver. He wants a boy. He carves a boy out of wood and wishes for the boy to come to real life or something. And then Pinocchio actually starts moving around and he wants to be a real boy. He has a conscious cricket. Jiminy Cricket. They sing a song about wishes coming true.
30 seconds.
There's Blue Fairy. She turns him into a real boy at some point, probably the end. Then there's also like they go to like a place where like boys are turned into donkeys or something.
Wow.
There's a whale.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Molly just pointed at her
10
nose
seconds.
because when he lies,
Molly!
his
Wow.
nose gets longer.
Jesus
That's a pretty like
Time.
Molly's crossing the picket line
You
over here.
absolutely
of
are.
The pre-call line.
Jesus Christ.
I'm not writing down nose.
No,
'Cause there's-
that didn't count.
why?
That didn't count. Beth, let the
Well-
record show Beth did not know about the nose.
I did know about the nose because I was my transition out of our Taylor Swift was gonna say speaking of liars.
Oh,
Pretty good, huh?
That would have
Okay,
been good.
I'll give it to you
Much
on
better
a
than the
transition
bowl.
technicality.
Here are
Thank
the
you.
three things I remember about this movie. I definitely saw it, but I was a very young child because this probably came out in like 30 years before I was born.
Yeah, we didn't
or
bet the
something.
year.
1952.
Wow.
That's my guess.
Whoa.
I was going to say 48, so I'm
Great.
sticking with it.
I'll say 50.
Even numbs.
I'll say 54 for
Ooh,
fun.
Very fun. Okay, so I saw this as a child because it was available and it was a Disney movie, and that's what you did as a child in the Midwest in the 80s. Here's what I remember. I remember Jiminy Cricket is a dapper gentleman, and I was always charmed by that. He's got a little top hat, he's got a little vest, he's got a little walking stick.
He's got those little shoe things that are not shoes, but they're on the top of his foot.
What are those called?
Spats.
Thank you.
Are those spats?
Spats. Okay. I remember there is some sort of weird carnival man who kidnaps Pinocchio. I don't know. At some point, Pinocchio is a performer in a show, and for some reason, it's bad. Geppetto gets eaten by a whale. I also don't know why.
Geppetto gets eaten by the whale.
I think so.
I think Geppetto's looking for Pinocchio out on the sea.
Oh, no.
And the big whale gets him.
And then, for reasons I cannot possibly fathom, boys turn into donkeys, like that said. And I only remember that because I just vaguely remember seeing where a kid maybe like sneezes and his ears turn into donkey ears or something, right?
Yeah, they go off to Pleasure Island, which is basically like Shredders.
Oh, Teen Town?
Teen Town.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. The kids are smoking cigars. They're gambling.
Ooh.
They're having a grand old time. And they're like 10 years old. They're just smoking big stogies. But then they turn into donkeys. And that's the plan of the evil circus man.
What?
Is he wants donkeys?
What?
Yeah. I don't know why he wants donkeys.
So
an
an
exhibit
exhibit or to help carry haul the carts?
Yeah, I think to haul carts.
Wow.
There's an easier way to
Seriously.
get a donkey.
Yeah.
Also, just make the kids haul the carts if you're already kidnapping children,
It's
right?
probably easier to control donkeys. This is a dark
Yeah, it is.
line of thinking.
I am so excited to find out why these children are turning into donkeys.
That is, as I was thinking about this movie beforehand, that's the section that I'm like, that's going to be wild. I wonder how that holds up. Where they're
Right?
all like smoking cigars and turn into donkeys for like forced labor.
Is it like, what's her name? Circe? Or some other goddess where like Odysseus is on the island, they all get turned into pigs? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Cersei.
Yeah. Where they're just like, oh, wow, what a nice place. And then it's like, we're going to take it. And then she's like, fuck you. You're all pigs now.
Yeah, she got him. Good book. Read a book. We haven't told our listeners to read a book in a while.
Oh, Circe,
Hey.
the book
Cersei's
from
the book
from
a few years back.
It was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool it watching movies.
I mean, watch this movie and
this
then
movie.
enjoy engaging with our podcast
Yeah.
about it.
And then read some mythology.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Pinocchio is kind of a myth, folktale.
Yeah, folktale,
Folktale.
let's say.
Yeah, it's not a myth. There's no gods in it, right? I mean, Jiminy Cricket.
I mean, the blue
guess
fairy, who knows what's going on with her?
Yeah.
Well, what about the cat?
What about the cat?
What about the cat?
Is the cat good or bad?
Great animation.
Cat's good.
Yeah,
Okay,
nice
there's a
cat.
good cat.
Nice cat.
Yeah.
A cute cat.
I think the cat is there mostly to react to Jiminy Cricket and to notice things that Geppetto doesn't see.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think the cat and Jiminy Cricket at first have an antagonistic relationship because the cat is like, "Ooh, you're a tiny creature, and that's what cats do."
I don't know. Might just respect Jiminy Cricket's like style game.
Sure.
I wonder, is the cat in the boat with Geppetto when
I was just going to ask that.
Yeah, it
'Cause
seems like could be.
Geppetto
Comedy
needs
moments.
someone to talk to, right?
Yeah.
Can't
And I think-
monologue by yourself.
Yeah,
No.
I think Geppetto has a charming, stereotypical Italian accent.
Hell yes, I hope so.
Is there someone else in the whale with him?
A skeleton.
Whoa.
Congrats, about there's a skeleton in the whale.
Oy.
I mean, doesn't Pinocchio eventually get inside the whale too?
Yeah, and then they
For
like light everything on fire.
Oh shit!
In the whale?
Yeah, because they're like in a ecosystem in there.
Which rules?
Yeah.
I love whenever cartoons do this.
Yeah, and I think they light everything on fire, and like smoke starts coming out of. Oh, the whale's got a cool name, like Gargantua or something.
Ooh.
Oh, that's not right, but something like that.
Yeah.
And like smoke start coming out of his blowhole in its
Oh.
mouth, and then it coughs them all out.
Huh.
Heartburn.
Ha.
Well,
That was the original title.
Yeah.
Of the entire movie?
Yeah, it's called Heartburn, but they were like, oh, people are expecting like a cop romantic comedy.
Right.
So then they switched it.
with
Yes,
Kevin Hart,
I call dibs on Heartburn as the name of a cop romantic comedy.
starring Kevin Hart.
Yes.
Call us, Kevin.
Oh, yeah, I like it.
Give us your money. Some of it.
Yeah.
You've got so much.
Some of
so
it.
much.
Kevin, you got so much money.
You're doing
just
great.
give us some money.
Yeah, just
we'll get you an
come on.
orb. You want an orb?
Yeah.
Yeah, you want an orb?
You want an orb, Kevin?
We'll make it heart shaped.
Oh.
We'll put Dwayne the Rock Johnson in Heartburn. You guys
Yeah.
think you have chemistry? You make him funnier, Kevin. You're
It's
funnier than
real.
he
Yeah.
is.
Hey,
That's true.
Kevin. You're the linchpin in that duo.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yep.
We all see it.
We all see it. We see how hard you're working.
Yeah.
Just because he's much bigger doesn't mean that he's got the bigger personality. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Or that he
Beth.
works harder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am a little concerned about Jiminy Cricket, the character.
Okay.
Why?
Hit me.
He feels a little bit like a minstrel character to me.
Oh. Isn't he just a dapper young gentleman, though?
There's something about him.
Okay.
There's something about him that I'm uncertain about and worried.
Mm.
And I guess we'll see how it pans out in the second half.
I guess there's a solid chance that there is just like some unfortunate, European views on literally almost anything just in the background or in tertiary characters for this movie.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know
we'll
either.
find out.
But it's a concern I have.
He
Are there
does sing a
songs?
song,
Oh,
Who does?
Jiminy Cricket.
How many songs are in this movie?
Doesn't he?
Yes.
This is not full on musical time, but I think he
There has
sings
to
a
be
song.
more than one song, though, right? Because there's We're Wishing on Stars.
yeah. Geppetto's got to be
Oh.
wishing for.
Is this Once You Wish Upon a Star?
Yeah. I think, right? Isn't that a Jiminy Crick? Isn't that a Jay Cricket?
I'm going to change my year.
What's the one the one I keep on singing in my head is "A dream is a wish your heart makes." What is that?
Oh, I think we
Oh,
watched that.
Yeah, we did.
I don't know what it is.
That was in
Cinderella?
one of
That
the
might
other
be
ones.
Cinderella.
Or
Okay.
s-
Anyway,
yeah.
there's a lot of wishing and dreaming in Disney movies.
That's
Yeah.
true.
I think he also, when he's working for Johnny Carnival, I think Pinocchio sings a song because he's like part of the
Got no
stage act or
strings
something.
to hold
Yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah.
that one.
5 songs.
Ooh.
Molly's Hot
What are the
Bet.
other songs?
The cat has a song,
Yes. Let's hope so.
and it's supposed to be meow, meow, meow. Meow, meow, meow.
It's the Meow Mix.
Meow,
That's
meow,
where
meow.
it was, they licensed it from Disney.
But no, I think there's got to be like a joyful song at the end when Pinocchio turns into a.
Sure.
I'm
Boy.
a boy.
It's probably Cats in the Cradle.
Silverstein. Yeah.
Yeah, it just immediately goes from desperately wanting to be a parent to desperately fearing you're failing as a parent.
Yeah. Is that what that song's about?
Yeah.
Cats in the Cradle?
I thought it was about like time going by and you
I
missing out on
mean,
your kids.
it's kind of both.
But he's bad. I never listened to it.
It's
Sometimes
just
they-
read the
my-
lyrics.
It's a great
It's
song.
Somebody sing
heartbreaking.
it to each other.
It's heavy
and we
shit,
see our
though.
child grow up before our eyes.
Yeah.
I should probably
Wow.
look at the song.
Yeah, because like by the time the boy is old enough and the man is retired and they can finally spend time together, his boy is too busy to spend time with him.
Oh,
and
so
he
the-
says, "I'm just like you."
The dad had no time for the kid
I
when the
got
kid was a kid.
Chill just thinking about that
It's
line.
heavy.
Okay.
It is so heavy.
That's not me.
Great
we
song.
Tried to clean out the basement together today so we could put a foosball table in there.
Oh.
Well,
But what if he
braggy.
becomes a foosball champion? You're just like, oh, do you want to
And
watch?
the cats in the
You want to watch Godzilla 1820?
With your old dad?
24.
And then he'd be like, oh, Dad, I got to go to the championship.
Trade.
Pew, 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 pew.
I'd be right there, courtside
Nice.
at the foosball
Yeah,
championship.
no, I understood.
Okay,
I
gotcha.
understand.
Gotcha.
Not at Godzilla minus 24. Which is a sport now.
Yeah.
By the time we're old, Godzilla movies are sports.
Yeah. Movies are
Sounds
sports now.
awesome, actually.
Yeah. Speaking of sports,
Yeah.
Pinocchio doesn't play any sports. Hot bet. No, he probably plays some on
Like stick
Pleasure
and
Island.
hoop or
Probably stick
something.
and hoop. I was thinking stick and hoop too. I'm writing
yeah.
down stick and hoop.
Please do.
Molly's hot bet at one point, not only does his nose grow, but it looks like a branch. It has like a leaf.
He
Yes.
gets a leaf. Yep.
Yep.
Big time.
LOLs.
What is he lying about?
Great question.
That he's a real boy. No, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is he lying about?
don't know.
Is that like a thing that happens throughout the story, or is it like one scene
I
where
think
he's
it's-
lying?
Oh, I think it's throughout.
Throughout.
It's his power? Oh, shit. There's an evil fox and another animal
What?
characters that work for Circus Man.
No way.
Because he's going to school. I remember the scene. He's going to school and he's got that thing in old timey things where they've just had their books in a belt.
Yeah.
Yeah, book belt.
Which I'm always like, really?
Makes sense when you think about it.
Yeah, that's what they did.
Yeah.
That's the lightest possible way to carry books.
But then you just got in one hand. I guess
You
they
put it
haven't,
over your shoulder.
they
What are
haven't
you talking
invented
about?
the backpack yet.
You just put it over your shoulder.
Backpack's way better, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but then it created a situation where the school's like, yeah, just take these 18 giant textbooks with you all the time.
Fair point.
Now you have back problems.
That's a fair point. And then you get roller suitcases, roller backpacks, which is a good idea, but also, you fucking nerd.
Wow.
Wow.
Let's get him.
Oh boy.
Anyway, Pinocchio's going to school with his book belt.
Great.
And Fox with stovepipe hat with the top busted open.
Or are we talking,
Fingerless
are we
gloves.
talking hobo gentleman?
Yes.
Oh, I love that.
and another animal companion. I guess I'm going to say raccoon.
I'm going to say badger.
I was going to say badger.
Nice. Beth and I are team badger.
And they're like, hey, little boy,
Of course.
going to school? How about you come to Pleasure Island instead? And then they kidnap him and put him in the circus.
Are we saying sack thrown overhead?
I'll write it down.
Please do.
Okay.
Dan's bet, they throw a sack over him.
Oh, to capture him?
Yeah.
That sounds cool. Yeah, I feel my recollection is his lies are told in his regular life.
Yeah.
Right? Like they're
Like,
unforced
what is he
errors. It's
lying
like the
about, though?
easier path.
Yeah. Okay.
So because I think that's like it's not like a lie to save his life or something. You know what
Sure.
I mean? So, but I don't remember what the lies are.
And is this the blue fairy being like, this is going to be the litmus test for if you're good enough to be a real boy?
Oh, the lie knows?
Yeah, because I think she does it. Like, she could not have
How
that be
could she
part
have?
of it.
Yeah, I mean, she must have done it because she did the magic in the first place.
Yeah.
So you think her plan is like she's going to come back in like a month and just like take out a measuring tape and see how long it's going to
Yeah. But it also goes back down when he tells the truth, right? It recedes.
Maybe it's like counting the rings. Like she can see like where the you know what I'm talking about? Where like branches come out. There's that weird little like that nubbin thing that the branch comes off of. Maybe there's like there's one of those every time that his nose.
Oh.
It is
Yeah.
an interesting philosophical question. Would people lie as much if you could see some physical remnant of lies on their face?
Great question.
Like little hatch
Probably
marks or
not.
something?
They try harder at least, right?
If it happened right away or if it was like a...
Dorian Gray.
I was going to say Dorian Gray, yeah.
You and I are
don't
just
know.
like,
Yeah. we're
Wow,
there.
wow.
although Beth and I are Team Badger, so.
Yeah.
Wow.
He is wearing a badger shirt.
I was just realizing that and thinking like, is that why we said Badger? Because we're both looking at Dan across the table?
He wore that just to throw us off the trail.
Oh, you bastard.
Badge...
Badge shirt.
Bastard. Nice.
Badge Nation.
Yeah, I think... Check out our bonus content next month for why Dan made that joke. That isn't a joke, but we still laughed out.
Laugh/strong exhale.
Yeah. I think people would definitely lie. Yeah, I guess you're right. That's a good way to put it. They would lie less because they would try harder to not do tiny lies.
Yeah.
But also, like, I guess if it was immediate, like, you'd be screwed if you were, like, trying to get out of something.
Well, even if it weren't immediate, what if it just because this is true, right? That when you tell a lie, usually the repercussions aren't immediate, but they do happen. So
Like you get more wrinkles or something. Like
well,
you
yeah, but
age
like really
faster.
specific wrinkles. And so then if you saw somebody coming and they had a whole bunch of little lie marks
You're like,
across
I
their
don't trust
forehead.
this. I'm not going to trust this person.
Yeah, or if they just had really long bangs, you'd be like, what's going on?
Yeah.
You know?
Show me your. I see.
It's
I'm
like-
not
okay.
offering you a lease till you show me your forehead.
It feels like almost a PK Dick story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the making.
Copyright.
You're
Trademark.
welcome. I did it.
We're going to write it.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah. We're the minority.
Put your pen
report.
down.
Listener.
Stop writing that story. Or
Hey.
ghostwrite it, but we get the money.
Yeah.
Actually, that's the best case
Famously,
scenario.
people get so much money.
So much.
Yeah.
When their name is on a book they didn't write?
No, just writing a book.
Yeah. I'm proposing.
You're
Someone
proposing to be
go-
successful.
Oh, I mean,
I'm
it's a
always
great
listen.
idea.
We want all our listeners to be successful.
Oh, that's
This is
fair.
$1 million idea.
Except for jerks. Jerks.
Hey,
No jerks.
put your pen down.
Yeah. Jerks, put your pens down.
Get up and walk away.
Yeah. Go take a class or something.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
That's got to be a thing, right?
There's a class, How to Be
Gears
Nice.
attorney, like,
Ugh.
Listen, in community school,
Yeah.
like there's like a community education,
Okay.
continuing education. That's
Yes.
what it is.
Sure.
There is a course called Let's Make a Salad.
Okay.
Now, if there's a course for Let's Make a Salad,
Yeah.
there has to be one for Be Nicer.
True.
I mean, you would just think.
Are people going to sign up for it though? Like people need it,
Yeah.
but are the people that need it going to sign up?
Maybe it's really the salad class, and that's just how they get you in.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And they show up, and you want to talk lettuce, and they're like, "No, we actually need to talk about your attitude."
It's like
Jerk.
you get to make a salad after we talk this out.
Yeah. Let us be nice to each other.
Let us
Wow.
help you.
I'm sold.
Yeah. Well,
Yes, Dan?
Molly, how should we rate this film?
Wow. Let us
Let
rate
us
this film.
Thank
Oh, yeah.
you. Thank you.
Let us Geppetto.
Lettuce Geppetto.
Yeah.
Wait, that's the rating scale?
Yes.
Oh, I thought you were leading into it. Okay.
Nope. Lettuce Geppetto.
Wow.
This, I'm imagining, similar to the Minnesota State Fair where we have butter sculptures. In a different part of the country, I guess Italy, there are lettuce
It's
sculptures.
a way different part of the country. So far out of the country.
So like
It's
this,
a different country.
This is like so this is someone who's like they have an occupation or hobby where you would describe them as a lettuce Geppetto.
Oh,
Is that what you're
I'm
saying?
thinking it's a competition who can carve the best Geppetto sculpture out of a head of lettuce.
So you are still kind of a Geppetto of lettuce though, right?
Sure, yes.
So there's multiple layers.
There's so many
Like
layers.
lettuce.
As many layers as
Yes.
there are, yes.
Oh.
No one talks about lettuce having layers like they do onions.
Yeah.
Yeah, lettuce got a real raw
I guess because
deal.
it's more like I guess because it's like
Is that
more
a
chaos. It's like more chaotic. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it is more
Yeah. Like an
chaotic
An onion,
layers.
it's like very like you can just look at it and be like, oh yes, there they are. Whereas a lettuce is more just like it's almost like they're playing that game where like you put all like your hands on top of each
that's a
other,
good
except
game.
with a bunch of leaves growing out of the same.
Cabbage is a pretty tight layered vegetable.
Very much.
But it's also more chaotic
Chaos.
feeling because
It
it's not
feels
like
chaotic,
even. P.S. Cabbage, big fan.
Great.
Sidebar,
Please.
hot sidebar.
How hot?
For the last few years, I have been making borscht every January in the month
What
of
is
my
borscht?
birth.
What makes a borscht?
It's a Russian soup with
Beets.
beets and cabbage.
Okay.
Usually beef broth, but I do a vegetarian
Sure.
borscht. And my family hates borscht, and
Okay.
they pretend to hate me talking about borscht. I think they actually like it.
Sure.
I forgot this year, so I don't know what I'm gonna do. Maybe February.
There's still
but
time.
February. Maybe it's February.
I love it. How could it not be when you say it out loud?
I got there.
It made you gasp.
Yeah, it has
That's
to be
how
February.
perfect it
Like,
is.
the joy you got from just saying that out loud, I need you to make it
Yeah, thank you for
February.
being here with me at this moment.
Listen,
self-actualized.
And I will also say on microphone, even though I don't know when you're doing the borscht making.
Okay.
If other people hate borscht, I would try your borscht.
I love borscht.
I don't even know what it tastes like.
All right, I'm gonna bring borscht
Nice.
sometime.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
You want borscht?
Borscht it up.
Borschtness
Borscht.
content.
Borscht.
Patreon.com
Borscht.
/borscht. We'll have a borscht content.
All right.
Get on Patreon to hear what you think about Dan's borscht.
All right. I'm gonna bring borscht. Maybe next record.
Great.
Who knows?
Wow.
Feb borschtwery.
Lettuce Geppetto.
You let us.
Let us do it, of course. So, okay, so is Dan correct? This is some sort of Italian contest of lettuce sculpting where are you crowned the lettuce Geppetto if you win?
You
Wow.
you are. I
It
want to
does
be
feel like
clear.
a
You
rad
don't
title.
have to whittle Geppetto.
Okay.
It is by virtue of doing the whittling and the sculpting that you are
Is
Geppetto.
is sky's the limit, or it has to be a portrait, a bust? It has to be a
The
lettuce
traditional is to do something that you would want to pet.
Right.
bust. Wow.
But
Of course, because Geppetto.
Because
yeah,
Pettis.
but there are show-offs who pick like a current event, just
hate
like they
that.
do for.
I hate that. Sorry, Molly. I hated
What?
that so much.
Hated
He
what?
said Pettis.
He just
Right?
did
And
the
then he
most direct side eye to me to make sure that I caught what he said.
That did nod.
you,
That
you-
is a
you
travesty.
took a gamble. You took a gamble on who would likely be the most supportive.
Beth usually acknowledges what I say
Yes.
more than anybody else in the
No,
table.
and that
Maybe
is
he doesn't appreciate it, but acknowledges
and that
it.
is a form of support. That is a form of support, and we all appreciate when Beth does that for us. Where like she doesn't necessarily say "good job," but she at least accepts
She
you.
saw me.
Yes. Wow. She peeled back the first couple of dirtier leaves.
You gotta throw those away. They're all wilted, gross, right?
Yeah, and they've been through on conveyor belts and people's hands.
Sometimes they're
You
like,
can't carve that.
oh,
No.
sure.
Thank you for bringing us back.
Yep.
Lettuce Geppetto. How many?
Dan, you were first, as we all know.
I am first. I'm very excited about this rating scale. I'm kind of in the weeds about it, but that's for me to experience off mic. I feel like this movie is one of the Disney classics. It is a very famous story because they keep making it, but I feel like this one still has a lot of staying power, so it must be pretty good. I bet it's also like cool, just like the animation style. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm gonna say 4. 4 lettuce Geppetto.
What is Geppetto?
Great.
Or is it Letai Geppetto? Is it?
No, just lettuce Geppetto.
But that's still the plural. It's just lettuce
It's
Geppetto.
like
Oh, if you were to make it plural, you'd say
like
lettuce geppettii.
Okay.
Wow.
Yep.
4 lettuce geppettii.
Quick side bet. We
Yep.
forgot to cover Bechdel Wallace.
Oh, no.
I mean, the fairy might talk to.
Who? Mom's dead.
Well,
Geppetto's single.
If there was a mom.
He's
ever.
single looking to mingle.
okay. Maybe the
Is
cat.
he?
Nope. He's
No.
not.
He's not looking to mingle. He's looking to
get a boy.
parent. Okay. All right. Beth, help. Are you next?
I am next. I can't see enjoying this.
Okay.
I don't know. It just doesn't, like, the more that we talk about it, I'm like, what is this story? So I'm gonna just start with 2
Okay.
lettuce geppettii.
Are
I
these
don't like Geppettii.
Geppettises.
You can just say lettuce geppettos. That's fine.
Lettuce geppettises is funner to
Okay,
more fun.
lettuce
that is true.
geppettis.
Lettuce geppettis.
Oh, perfect. I,
I like
love
that.
it.
Is it? Are the multiple ones? Is this like winners of
Lettuces
different?
geppettises.
Is this like winners of different events, or is it like what if we have multiple
How many
geppettises?
submissions?
Oh, yeah. That's it's any ribbon. So
Oh, I
there's
see.
blue ribbon,
Okay,
but
sure,
you can
sure,
also
sure.
yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So there are up to 5 place. You can
Yeah.
place up
Different
to 5
categories.
Yeah, different
Most
categories.
realistic,
Most
painted.
pettable.
technical. Yes,
Yes.
most pettable, most pedicible.
Nope.
Most Italian, of course.
You can't keep looking over here for help.
Most Italian, yes. Big bowl of spaghetti. Spaghettis. Spaghettis Geppettis.
I'm starting to regret this.
Wrap this up.
Regret this. Oh boy.
Regrettis.
Regrettis Geppettis. My name is Dan. I regrettis nothing. I'm going to say 4 as well. I'm a little worried about some old-timey themes, but I think it's fun and pretty wild. So that's where I'm landing.
Great.
Nice. This is Molly. I go last, and that's not offensive.
Right.
I don't have a clear memory of watching this movie, although I'm almost certain I did, and almost certainly on a projector at school, like elementary school.
Damn.
So I think I'll be astounded by how good the colors look.
Nice.
Digitally. And I think it's going to be a wild ride that will also be hard to watch in places. I'm really putting a lot of eggs in the cat basket terms of like fun, but the music will be great. Okay. 3.5. The half was disqualified because somebody stopped. You stopped midway.
Sure.
They just lost their inspiration or they overcut. You can't come back from
right.
that.
No, you
Yeah.
can't.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's lettuces, geppettises, 3.5.
Great.
And with that, we're going to press pause, go watch Pinocchio, and we'll be right back.
Hey, listeners.
Wow.
You're listening to the sultry tones of the middle of the show, aka the mid-roll. Folks, you may have heard us talk about this in the past, or if this is your first episode, you may have still heard us talk about it because we usually mention it at least once in the first half. We have a Patreon, which is patreon.com/totesrecall, in which our super fans, our totes heads, can give us a little bit of scratch. Helps support the show, helps us buy 2 pizzas and 2 salads. It helps Beth get us cleaner, less old, withered microphone covers.
Yeah.
They've had a hard life, but now we've got fresh new ones, baby. Scratch. I'm scratching it right now.
You can hear the newness.
Oh, you sure can.
Wow.
I'm delighted at it.
Pop, pop.
Pop, pop. Can't hear that, can
Yeah,
you?
now I won't have to edit that out later.
Oh dear.
So what
no peas, anyone.
Yeah, so what we're saying is patron
Oh no! It happened anyway.
are a very respected and beloved part of the Totes Recall family infrastructure. I don't know what you want to call it.
We are not
I
big enough
prefer
for
family to
infrastructure.
infrastructure.
And fam structure.
Infam.
Ooh,
Just
no.
not nation. I've decided anyone who's like a fan base is a nation. I'm
Yeah.
sus about.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Because you're worried at some point they're going to rise up.
Yeah.
Like at some point there's going to be a coup run by the Bachelor Nation attacking the White House.
Is that a thing? Is Bachelor fans the Bachelor
Oh,
Nation?
hell yes.
Yeah.
Ooh, How about Bachelorette? Are
It's
they
all
also-
Bachelor Nation.
It's all
the
part
whole
of the
franchise
thing.
is Bachelor Nation.
Even fans of Bachelorette are Bachelor
I mean,
Nation?
they can probably call themselves Bachelorette Nation, I bet.
Isn't that
But I feel like Bachelor Nation is the catch-all because that was the first one.
Yeah.
Bachelor was the first one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Wow,
Anyway,
if I wanted to be a patron, how
Yes.
would I do that?
Molly, it's so easy. You can go to patreon.com/totesrecall
.com.
and select a tier level. We have many tiers for just a single American dollar.
Whoa.
You can join our Discord, which is a fun text-based social.
If I join Discord, can I start a channel called Bachelor Nation?
You could ask us to, I
Yeah,
think. I don't
I'd be
know
into that.
how administrative permissions work.
You cannot make your own channels.
Okay.
But you could request it.
Okay.
There's a suggestions channel, which originally was not for movie suggestions, but it seems like it should be, and that's only what it's used for. And maybe we deleted it?
I don't remember.
We
Only one
wouldn't
way
do
to
such a
find out,
thing.
non-patrons. Get on patreon.com/totesrecall and become a patron.
.com.
There are also, folks, another tier level where you can get your name in lights in audio form, which is what we call shouting out
Say your
someone who is a patron who we love so much.
Wow, what a good tier.
It's a great tier. This episode's name in lights in audio form is our good friend, the Boodle Horse.
The Boodle
Yes, Boodle Horse.
Boodle horse.
Boodle Horse is
Either a horse or a liar?
Or a poodle.
what? Why is it a liar?
Well, the Boodle Horse, we debuted on our episode. We discovered, if you will.
Uh-huh.
Is it a
And
rating
my
scale?
memory is that there's the Boodle Horse and the Horselboo.
Oh.
One is a liar and the other's a horse.
Wow.
And that's the extent of my memory about it.
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't remember which is which.
Listen, if they're a patron, then I have to assume that they are truth-telling.
Yes.
We don't know one tells the truth. We know one is a liar and one is a horse.
Oh, I see.
for
I
Pete's
see.
sake. Well,
You are inferring that the horse tells the truth. It could be a lion horse.
I bet there are plenty of lion horses out there.
Yeah.
Thank you, the Boodle Horse,
Thank you, the
for
Boodle Horse.
supporting our podcast.
If you'd like to have your name create a brief, nonsensical conversation between the four of us, head to patreon.com/totesrecall.
.clop.
Wow. And now back to the show.
And we're back. We watched 1 hour and 26 minutes of Pinocchio, a movie with incredible painterly animation and an incredible cat.
Yeah.
Checks out.
I love that cat so
Support that.
much.
Oh, I'm just so mad. I forgot that Figaro was the cat's name. I should have remembered it because I've been forced to watch a lot of Mickey and Minnie Mouse lately. And Figaro is the name of her cat.
Like it is named as Figaro.
Yeah. And it's basically Figaro.
Isn't there a Looney Tune with Figaro? Figaro.
Sure.
Oh, the song?
Figaro.
Yeah.
Figaro.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Probably like 8 of them.
Yeah. And like Fat Viking.
Are you talking about What's Opera Dog?
Yeah.
Is that one? Does Figaro take in that one?
I think so.
Okay, great.
Anyway, it's a different animation.
It's a cat,
studio.
and it's a cat in this case, not a song.
Well, and I didn't mean to get us too far away from our award-winning segment.
That's true. We have yet to receive an award in this half of the show.
Right.
We probably won some last half for our rating scale.
I see.
But yes, we win awards for a little segment that we do called 60-second summary, in which we summarize the movie we just watched, Pinocchio, in 60 seconds exactly. The traditional manner of the segment is that I volunteer to do it, and so I will. But didn't I do it?
Did it pretty recently.
Whatever
Yeah,
we last watched. Demolition Man? I think I did.
Did you?
Yeah, I think
Did
you
I?
did too.
Yeah. So
I mean, Beth's never done it.
That is
so-
true.
She's never done
that's
it.
true.
All right.
It's wild how she
Challenge
just never
accepted,
does
I
it.
guess.
Yes. I mean,
Yay.
didn't you do a Union Strong pre-call?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
So
did.
this will be a good,
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
bookend.
yeah, a good bookend. Are you ready?
No, but okay.
All right. For the listener, Beth is holding her copious notes,
I
which
thought
is fair.
maybe would help.
That's absolutely fair. We've
Yeah.
never said notes aren't allowed.
It's true.
Oh my gosh, I should be taking notes this whole time.
Yeah.
Honestly, Beth, you could re-record this later
That's
and we'd
true.
have
We would
no
never
clue.
know. We would never know.
Just word for word what it says on Wikipedia.
No.
Ugh.
Ready?
Yes.
Go.
Okay, we open on animation. There's a man named Geppetto. He is a wood carver. He has a house full of cuckoo clocks, and he is carving a little wooden boy. And he says, wouldn't it be so great if this little boy was real? And he wishes upon a star. And the star comes down, ends up it's a blue fairy. The blue fairy grants that wish and turns Pinocchio into a real boy. Then it's like, hey, you got to go to school. Let's not get to know each other. Just got to go to school. So
30 seconds.
On his way to school, he runs into some crimers, and the crimers are like, you need to, I can't remember the first thing that go to become a puppet without strings. And then that doesn't work out. Then they go to Pleasure Island. All the
10
boys
seconds.
turn into donkeys. And then the last thing is that for some reason Geppetto's inside of a whale, and he finds him in the whale, and they sneeze out of the whale, and then it's like, oh, everything's good.
Time.
Jiminy Cricket.
Time. Amazing.
I mean, in fairness, first of all, 100% Utah.
Absolutely.
Of course, yes.
And in fairness, this is like 4 movies mashed together.
There are so many ideas.
Yeah. I love how it's like basically Pinocchio just sort of, whenever he's done with whatever he's doing, he just like walks out into the street, and then the next movie finds him.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, he has 3 trials and tribulations.
Oh.
And the third one, the whale one, felt real tacked on to me. Because he goes, and Stromboli captures him, who's the marionette guy, right?
Yeah.
And then
Well, he
goes,
doesn't capture
sold
him.
to Stromboli.
Yeah.
Yes.
sure, and then is imprisoned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. He's captured, doesn't matter.
We'll
I
talk
think
about
it's important because the whole first half, we kept trying to figure out how the fox and the fox's sidekick were involved.
True.
Yes.
So I'm just trying to draw that.
And we bet there was a fox and either a badger or a raccoon. Now I think cat.
It's a cat.
I think it's a
Okay.
Is it
cat.
cat?
But it's confusing because there's also cute cat,
Figaro.
and then there's like
Person cat.
Yeah.
Crimer cat.
What
Yeah.
is the Kramer cat's name again?
Gideon.
Gideon, and they call him Giddy.
Yeah. And
Got it.
Honest John is the fox.
Yeah.
Who is
He is
not honest.
Not at all.
No.
all.
Yeah.
The
Just
irony.
goes to how confusing it is to choose between right and wrong.
Yeah. And this kid is, 1 night old when he
Yeah.
goes off to
Oh, Pinocchio.
Yeah.
off to school.
He's like maybe 12 hours old.
Yeah. No book belt, just one book.
There is a book belt.
It's on
yeah.
a book belt though.
Was it?
Yes.
Oh, I must have looked down.
I was confused by that.
Figaro very helpfully wrapped it in a book belt before bringing it out. What's the book? Who knows?
It
Just says
says-
ABC.
Yes, but the one great joke is Honest John holds it up and says, a man of letters, and he's got the book upside down.
Good stuff.
But of course, Pinocchio doesn't know.
No, he doesn't
It's
know
like More
anything.
like Pinocchio don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Pinocchio.
Pinocchio don't know.
What is happening?
Oh, yeah. You're workshopping.
Oh, great.
Type 5 Pinocchio stand-up routine.
I feel like I would propose that we turn back the
Clock?
8,000 cuckoo clocks
Yeah.
and jump back to the beginning because so much happens in the first 15 minutes of this movie.
Yeah.
It all takes place. It's like a bottle episode. Like it's like a 1-act play. It all takes place in Geppetto's house, but a ton happens right at the beginning.
I got it in there at the last second. I don't know if you heard it, but I did mention Jiminy Cricket.
Yes.
Who is, I guess, our narrator and maybe the author of the book? It's unclear.
Yeah. I was like, is this his photo album?
Right?
Because he's like, let me tell you a tale. And he opens up a storybook and then it zooms in on the picture and that's where the movie starts.
I don't want to zoom forward too much, but at some point, just a gilded note falls from the sky.
Uh-huh.
So I feel like this book came from a similar source.
I see. And he's
Blue
just
Fairy Road.
taking the
Yeah.
credit.
But the thing that you notice from the very beginning, which is Jiminy Cricket standing in front of this book, is the loving attention and detail to every source of light, source of shadow, translucence.
Yeah. At one
for-
point, Geppetto walks in front of the fireplace and we see
Yes.
the outline of his body through his gown
Yes.
in animation.
And a part
Yeah.
of you is cringing. She's like, are we going to see?
I was worried I was going
Okay,
to see some.
I did not have
Wait,
that
It was
worry.
1940. You
What
never
is
know.
the stance on this podcast?
If not, what? No flaccid dong if underneath a nightgown?
No, I just was like,
Worried I'd see the hint and not the full thing.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying, when I say I want more flaccid dong in cinema, I don't mean like children's animation.
Oh, well, that's more than fair.
Yep.
But you do see his eyelids. So there's all this loving attention put to every element and a lot of attention on each of the hundreds of clocks.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming he's a clockmaker, and these are all his creations.
He's a woodcarver. He makes music boxes and clocks and a violin, maybe
Marionettes.
Yeah,
a lot of cool clocks.
an adorable cat-sized bed for Figaro the cat.
Forget about it.
Oh my God,
So
amazing.
cute. And I feel like they spent, I would say, 40% of the animation budget on lighting effects. 40% on Figaro, and then everything else.
Nice.
Wow.
Which isn't to say, like, there's only one point in the movie where you're like, oh, they did not have time. And that's where the boys are being transported towards the end.
Oh, yeah.
They all of a sudden become sort of like play school figures.
Yeah. I mean, none of them matter except for Lampwick.
Oh, for sure.
We'll talk about Lampwick.
Listen, they put it all in the right place.
Yeah.
But it was just wild, too, to see, like, how much painterly and loving
I agree.
attention.
It was off-putting to suddenly see like a steamer boat full of like doodles of children, right? Like
Oodles of doodles.
oodles of doodles just like screaming and laughing and kind of hopping in place because they don't have legs.
But it's also like, it was so cool to me to think about the people who were creating this animation appeared to me were all painters, right? Because it was all very painterly and they paid attention to all of those
backgrounds
elements.
were gorgeous in the entire movie.
I mean, it was stunning. And I was like, oh, that's because that was the path or the viewpoint they were coming to it from, as opposed to like, well, we've already animated a mouse.
Yeah.
And P.S., this was in 1940, which absolutely crushes me. I knew even as I made my guess of...
No one bet it.
Who got closest?
I was closest with 48. So I was the only one.
Wow.
in
Same
the
deck.
we, like,
Same deck.
way overshot.
Yeah,
It's
we
like
did.
a Italian tale in World War II.
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing? Right?
Excuse- what?
When was World War II?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. If
1940 was World War II.
I guess I see. I don't know, because like Del Toro's version takes place during World War II, and I just thought that's just like what he does because he loves to just throw fantastic elements at fascism and see what happens. It's kind of one of his deals.
But also, is Geppetto Italian? Can we?
I assume
His accent confused me, and
Okay.
he had lederhosen on.
he did.
I thought he did, yeah. And I know Italy goes pretty far north and hits
Zurich? Okay.
which also hits Germany.
Uh-huh.
So, like, there's some parts of Italy that are not, people waving their hands and eating spaghetti all the time.
Sure.
And I wonder if Geppetto's
Probably most part.
well, some.
I mean, the hand waving definitely happens. The other part, maybe not so much.
But I think we bet he was very Italian, and I would not say he's very Italian at all. Stromboli, if anybody, is the more
Yes.
Italian stereotype, although he is
Like
a Roma,
like a Roma stereotype.
called a gypsy at the time.
Yeah.
And then and at first time it was like, oh, the old gypsy, and I was like, oh no, we're gonna see a bad stereotype.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that much. I mean, he's still the villain.
It's still a bad stereotype because he's
Yeah.
a like money hoarding
Yeah.
skinflint.
yeah,
But
they didn't. I guess they didn't lead in as hard as I was worried. they
Sure.
were.
so you were expecting Geppetto to be like, oh, I just need a little boy in my life.
Yes, I was.
Allora.
And I don't know. I couldn't follow his accent.
No, I couldn't either. I think it was just sort of like vaguely European.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but also I loved him and his whole vibe.
Me too.
And maybe, I don't know. I didn't get a chance to Wikipedia because I was so enthralled with this
Yes,
movie.
of course.
But it's possible they recorded the voice one way. And then as things progressed, maybe they re-recorded the voice.
True. Maybe in 1940, they're like, ooh, maybe we don't want an
What
expressly
was cool
Italian
in
man.
1938,
Right.
as we are coming to finish this, maybe,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how long it
maybe,
took them, but I assume it was a while.
Yeah. Maybe the federal government would not be happy if we had a beloved Italian man in our movie.
We were wondering about Geppetto's age.
Yeah.
We sure were. Because,
And
I think we could agree. Like, he is drawn, like, the character design is that where you would think, like, he's an older gentleman.
Yes.
Right?
Oh,
Like
for
a
sure.
grandpa.
Like a grandpa. He's got grandpa vibes
Yes.
for sure.
White
Hard
hair,
grandpa vibes. White
big mustache.
Yep.
Little bifocal, not bifocals, just like little glasses that hang
Yeah.
off his nose.
Yeah.
Huge grandpa energy.
According to the internet, he is 40 years old.
Amazing.
Just mind-boggling.
Amazing. I mean, I guess it is
I mean, in 1940s.
18 whatever,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, this movie's not set in 1940. It's earlier, right?
Yeah.
But even in the 1940s, 30-year-olds were trying to look like
Sure.
50-year-olds now, right?
He did also have like 8 pipes next to his bed.
Yes,
So that
I
might,
clocked that too. He
might
had a
also
pipe
be
rack.
why he looks so old.
Well, if you're good at carving,
Yeah.
you
I
know.
mean, he clearly smokes every night before bed.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, in bed.
yeah.
Yeah. I also really appreciated that all the cuckoos struck 9 o'clock and it was time for bed. And I was like, damn right,
That was
Geppetto, it is.
also one of the best jokes.
Yes.
Is that what you're about to
Yes.
say?
And a great introduction to just like his whole like limited ability to perceive reality around him, which comes up a lot.
Yeah, because all the clocks go off at 9 o'clock, and right after that, he goes, "I wonder what time it is,"
And pulls out
his watch.
Yeah.
Great joke. Yeah.
Great
Yeah.
joke.
A plus.
And the cuckoos, Molly, you wanted to dig
They
in
are
on the cuckoos.
wild. Those clocks are bananas.
There's like all kinds of stuff, a lot of things that you might expect, like dancing couples or like big bird and little birds or like little ducks that flip. So
that one
love
was so
that duck
cute.
they
clock.
were so charming and so cute. And then all of a sudden,
Yeah.
it's a woman spanking her child,
Yeah.
I think for spilling paint or jam or something.
Yeah.
But it's red paint or jam, and you just see her all of a sudden hitting her kid. And I thought, oh, wow, we are so far beyond where this would be like charming
Yeah.
to like where I don't know that a kid today would fully grasp like what that situation was.
Yeah.
That's right after the very drunk guy cuckoo clock.
Oh, wino clock. I wrote that down in all caps. I was so excited for wino clock,
Yeah.
where he just like comes out and just kind of like flops around with his mug of ale. There's
Yeah.
also the like turkey that's about to get beheaded, but its neck
Yeah.
keeps snapping back.
Oh, yeah.
That was
yeah.
fun.
the-
You know, on the spanking topic, just real quick. So my
Please.
my friend, was doing some gentle parenting and had just reached her limit with her youngest, who was 3 at the time. And I forget what he was doing, but he was pushing every button. And she said, "Grayson, if you don't stop that, you're going to get a spanking." And she meant it, which
Yeah.
is really saying something, because this is a person who had crafted her life around not being that kind of parent.
Mm-hmm.
And her son goes, "Mommy, what is this spanking?"
And then he lit a cigarette.
Yeah, I mean, basically, and she was like, I almost bit through my cheeks. She was working so hard to not laugh
Yes.
in front of him.
Yes.
It was amazing. And of course, he never got a spanking.
Amazing.
But anyway, it would be that foreign, right?
I want to believe that he knew exactly what a spanking was. We're just like, I know exactly how to get out of this.
Mind games.
4 on the charm.
Yeah.
But yes, there was the turkey one. There were a bunch of them, and there was so much time and attention
Yeah.
paid.
Yeah. To your point about that, to me, the like wood shop and the cuckoo clocks and the dancing with all the toys felt like the Snow White "we're cleaning the cottage" scene.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just like, we love drawing stuff in here.
Yes.
Like, it doesn't matter for the
No.
plot at all. They
could have
They're having
literally-
so much fun, and
Yeah.
then they get to the end, they're like, we are behind schedule and over budget. We gotta get some fucking plot in this movie.
Yeah, no, like clearly, like they could, like, yeah, the directors were like, oh, you made a bunch of clocks and music wise. They're like, okay, great. And the directors probably like, yeah, they'll just draw a bunch of clocks and like maybe just a couple little boxes that go like beep, boop, 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 and then went on vacation or something. And they came back like, all right, where are we at? Oh, we just finished clock number 18. He's like, what? Excuse me?
You need to be on the Monstro by now.
There was probably a whole time where Geppetto and Pinocchio were supposed to like get to know each other.
Oh, yeah.
Instead, they were like off to school.
Yeah, I mean that's a great point, Dan, because that actually explains to me a couple of elements later in the movie where Pinocchio and Jiminy Cricket literally just get like a letter explaining the next plot point
Yes.
from the Blue Fairy. Like, by the way, your dad got swallowed by a whale. Okay, bye. And then once they go try to find his dad, I don't know. I guess at that point they're just like, well, we agreed it had to be at least this many minutes long, but we don't have the budget to draw anything too complicated. So let's just do a sequence of Pinocchio asking different sea life if they know where Monstro lives.
Oh my gosh.
Well, and probably the Sea Life team had been working in parallel.
Yeah. That was also beautiful.
It was, but it was. It was so funny to me. They're just like, wow, really? He's still just asking another group of fish where Monstro is, and then they run away. Like, we're doing this again.
It was a lot. I guess it was to convey time passing.
Sure.
But yeah, his little donkey tail tied tight to ballast and just dragging it on the ocean floor. They really do help you believe, though, like he really earned being a boy. Right? Because at first he just like follows the first Honest John anywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'm sorry, before we skip too far ahead, there are so many
go back again.
mint jokes about being an actor and how much money you make and how you live and have such fine things and who wouldn't want to be an actor. There are so many like digs.
Yeah. Well, like Jiminy Cricket's like whole position is just like, well, you can either have a conscience or you can go be an actor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which we should talk about Jiminy Cricket in general.
Yeah.
Because like we meet him first as like the fine storyteller, but then we learn that in the past he was just like a humble hobo cricket going around Europe, and he found a warm place to stay and then is just sort of hanging out and charmed and decides to just like be a part of the party and like
even
pretend to be part of the music
very
box.
loud in there.
Yeah.
And like he can't sleep, and then he yells at the clocks and they stop.
It worked. That ruled. But like before he goes to bed, though, we do get a quick hint of a very important element of him, which is that he is very horny, in that he's got a little bit of a sassy relationship with one of the wooden ladies in the music boxes. He
cuts in on one dancing lady.
Yeah.
He puts his hand on another lady's wooden butt.
a lot of butt references in
So much
Geppetto's
butt
house.
jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe how many times they made a butt joke. I was like, what is this, Lion King?
Speaking of butts,
warming his tushy
Yes.
on one little coal that he
Yes.
pulled out of the fire
Adorable.
with his
That's
umbrella.
so cute.
It was like
Adorable.
really set me back. That was something as a kid that really, I don't know, reverberated with me.
Yeah.
It's like, just get the coal and warm his tush.
yeah, I mean, great strategy.
Yeah.
But then so he's just kind of like doing his own thing and like completely like staying out of everybody's way until the blue fairy shows up.
Yeah.
And like is like, oh, you're dead. You know, Geppetto wished on a star, so I'm gonna make you a living puppet thing. And it's like, oh, you'll have to learn how to have a conscience. And then he just suddenly decides to insert himself because he just can't help it anymore. But really, it's because he wants to get closer to that fairy.
Yeah.
Because he is down bad with the blue fairy.
Yeah. He's blushing hard after.
Blushing whore.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, we almost forgot. I mean, if you watch this movie, you'll see it. But like there's a whole sequence with Figaro dancing with Pinocchio, or sort of running from Pinocchio in some ways.
Yes.
And you just start to take for granted that, well, of course Pinocchio moves that way. He's a puppet.
Right.
And then as I was watching, I was like, that is all animation. Like they didn't just record a puppet.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just think about how tedious that would be to figure out, not just regular human movement.
I really liked Figaro's relationship with the rest of the household. Like I liked how Figaro was clearly jealous of any attention given to Cleo the fish or any other inanimate object, but also like clearly Geppetto and Figaro had a very good relationship.
Yeah. And also, Cleo is too sexy for a fish. Right? She's always like hiding behind her
He's
tail.
got like fluttering eyelashes.
playing coy.
Yeah.
And Geppetto calls
Playing
her
coy. Come on.
Didn't even mean that.
What does he call her again? It's like his
Sweet water baby.
Sweet water baby.
Which I found a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, but also like he has a whole song when he makes Pinocchio calling him Little Wooden Head.
Yeah.
So he just likes to give little names to everybody, I
Yeah.
guess.
I
And at
called her
one
My
point, he
Mermaid.
helps her dance by making a little swirl in the water so it eddies. And
Yeah,
that's pretty cute.
it is very cute.
Yeah, and I was, no one will be surprised to hear it definitely does not pass the Bechdel-Wallace test.
No.
If the fairy had said hello to Cleo, maybe it would have.
Would it though?
I don't
Because
know.
Cleo would have just like fluttered her little tail fin.
I would have
Make a
accepted
thin
it.
argument.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
guess.
but those are the only two women in the entire
Yeah.
in the
And one is
entire
a
thing.
fish.
Yeah, the other one is a fish.
Yeah, they explicitly go to a boy island as the second
Mm-hmm.
trial.
Oh, while we're still in Geppetto's house, I want to make mention, and if you haven't seen the movie in a while, at least check out this scene. When it's finally bedtime and they go to bed, Geppetto has the most insane snore I've ever heard in my life. Like when Jiminy Cricket's just like getting distracted by every single noise in the house, they then cut to Geppetto and Figaro sleeping in the bed, and Geppetto, I don't even know, it was just like, like it was wild.
Definitely a severe sleep apnea.
Yes.
It's
Or
40
the
years old.
mustache. Well, yeah, I mean, he's on
Severe
death's door.
and adorable.
Sure. He's probably got allergies to cats.
The one
Or
thing
wood
I was wondering about as I was watching that is, so he wishes that Pinocchio becomes a real boy. He goes to sleep. Then Pinocchio becomes a real boy and like is, you know,
I mean, he becomes like half a boy.
Yeah, exactly. He becomes animated.
Yes.
And Geppetto is like somebody's in the house and he has a gun.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's the other
like,
vibe.
why does
He's
he
got
have a gun?
pipe rack, pistol under his pillow. Snores like a maniac.
Also, when he wakes up like that and he has to light the lantern to try to see if he has to shoot a robber, does he? I want to survey the table. Does he like light that match on his taint? Did you see
That I
that?
did not clock.
Oh man,
No.
he like got out of bed and they grabbed it and just went like across his undercarriage and then lit the candle.
That's not
It
what
was
happened.
what happened then? What did he light it on?
Something that we didn't see.
No, it was okay.
Oh, we also didn't see his taint.
Yeah. At best,
even
at
work?
best, he lit it off his own ass.
Yeah. I mean, he's
That's
40
more
years old.
likely.
He probably got real dry buns.
That's true. I mean, it's
A drafty house.
drafty house, so drafty a cricket can just crawl in through the
Yeah.
door.
In 5 years, we'll all find out.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. But yeah, and that was the first time that we learn once again that like it's not just clocks where he can't quite perceive reality. Like he's not quick on the draw.
And
Because he's
that-
like, oh, Pinocchio, it was just you. And then Pinocchio talks. He's like, haha, yes, but now it's time for bed. And then finally he's like, wait, this is very strange.
Yeah, and that comedy beat works for me. They do it a couple times where
Agreed.
like Pinocchio shows up and he'll like talk to Pinocchio and reassert that Pinocchio's not there or not real or whatever.
Yeah.
Like again on the boat.
Yes.
And again when he's dead, he's like, no, Pinocchio, you're dead. Lie down.
Love it. Good stuff.
And yeah, he does a few times and I was like, great job, Geppetto. I just love his whole energy.
So good.
I'm going to sleep with a blunderbuss under my pillow, go to bed at 9 p.m.
Yeah.
Pipe rack.
I'm gonna build an elaborate bed for my cat,
Yeah.
but then just let the cat sleep next to me with matching hats. God, when they're all wearing sleeping caps,
Yeah.
it was so wonderful.
Train my cat to open the window for me at night.
Oh, that was so
Yes.
good. That was clearly like an enrichment exercise. It's like, oh, I forgot to open the window, Figaro. Wink, wink. It's wild that Jiminy Cricket was like a traveling hobo cricket, and then because he was so horny for that fairy, just changed his entire trajectory of his life.
Yeah.
He's like,
Yeah.
sure, I'll be the conscience of this half-alive puppet boy.
Yeah.
He doesn't. Can we just be honest?
Yeah.
He does not do a great,
Not great.
job.
Not
Gives
No.
up easy.
so quickly.
Multiple times.
So
it's like, oh, I guess Pinocchio doesn't need me. Well, I'll say bye. Oh, you're locked in a cage?
I love that one where when Honest John tricks him to go into the marionette show, he's just like, well, he wants to be an actor, so I guess he just doesn't need me anymore.
Even before that, though, Honest John and Gideon,
Who we should talk about.
yes, approach him.
Yes.
And they're like, you should become an actor. And, well, I guess Honest John says you should become an actor because Gideon doesn't say anything. He's just there.
Apparently, cats in this world never speak, even if they are
Gideon
like
is able
upright.
to produce an enormous mallet
Incredible.
at will.
Incredible.
And it is the epitome of the saying that if you only have a hammer, everything looks like a nail.
Fair.
Yeah.
He tries to
He's
use that
so ready
mallet to
for it.
solve
Yeah. Every
all
problem.
problems.
Gets Honest John unstuck.
That's true.
From his head.
Gideon is like, he is seriously like he's like the prototype for like the weasels in Roger Rabbit. Like
Yeah.
he's just got like these, like, he's kooky, he's got loosey-goosey clothes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and is just like,
Seems like crazy and stupid.
He is a weasel.
whoa.
Oh.
I think he's just a cat with mange.
I think he's like a mangy street
Yeah.
cat.
But why would they make the cat style so different?
Because they had to make sure you knew it was a bad cat.
I'm going weasel.
All right, that's
Wow.
insane, but I respect your
I'm
choice.
writing it down. I will check on it later.
Wow.
Okay.
So, but Jiminy Cricket sees that he's being kidnapped
Yes.
by these two.
But in song, so
In song.
it's less harmful looking.
He starts to head back to be like, I better tell his father.
Yes.
And then he says,
Oh, yeah.
no, I shouldn't be a snitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just didn't know that was the policy
I
back
think
then.
that's you know what it is? I think that's hobo code. Like I think like deep down he's like, no, you can't snitch. Otherwise like the coppers will come and get rid of this good warming spot, this
Yeah.
tush warming spot.
Isn't that all? I mean, aren't hobos snitching on non-hobos all the time when they're like hobo code? Are they like right on the fence? Like they'll give you a bowl
not
of
Is that
soup?
snitching
is going
Or, like,
to authorities.
They got a dog. Oh, fair enough.
There's a whole power dynamic.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you think now I didn't even think about this until just now, but because of like all of the incredible just hobo drip that all of the anthropomorphic animals have in this movie, I want to believe that they have crossed paths before, like in a different town.
Maybe.
Yeah. And that's why he's immediately just like, oh, whoa, you're going with them?
But he doesn't like put up that much
No,
of a fight about it.
to be fair, he is a
And then he
cricket.
hides in a flower. Is like, just tell him.
Oh yeah,
Just tell him you have to go to school instead of like, let's get out of here. They're trying to kidnap
yeah.
you.
He was trying to be a conscience who teaches him whatever.
I guess so.
He just didn't fully understand.
I don't think
what
so.
I was going to say he didn't fully understand the assignment, but I think he didn't understand what he was working with.
I think a little
He was
both.
working with a 12-hour-old
Yeah.
animated
Wooden boy.
puppet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who just really didn't have a good sense of things.
Or to be fair, like he did not get a lot of like great parenting before he was allowed to leave the house.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, you have to go to school tomorrow. Hey, like,
What school?
what school? What's
Yeah.
he literally walked out of the house and said, what are those? He's like, oh, those are your classmates, boys and girls. And that was like the first time that Pinocchio even realized there were other children in the world. And Geppetto's just going to let him wander off on his own.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is Geppetto doing that he can't walk him to school?
I mean, he's probably got a huge clock order that he's got to fill.
Oh, but poor Geppetto. The scene when Pinocchio doesn't come home.
Oh, and he's built the most beautiful feast for every animal in the house.
It
Yeah.
looks good.
It looks great. He took the time to slice a piece of cake and then tie it to a cork so it would float at the perfect height for Cleo to eat.
Yeah.
It was a delicious meal.
It looked
and
great.
It's so sad.
It's
Like, can you
heartbreaking,
imagine?
yeah.
Like, yeah.
My wife did point out, no big deal, pointed out how odd, and this comes up again in The Whale, we'll get to that, how weird it must be for Cleo to just like sit there with her slice of cake, just watching Figaro like desperately drooling over an entire other fish.
No, that's a good point. That's a really good point.
Right? They've got a weird dynamic, is what I'm saying. They got a real weird dynamic, those two.
That you just maybe at that scale,
Yeah.
you just don't think about it. That's a good point.
We should get to Stromboli
Okay.
and Pleasure Island.
Okay, so just to be clear, I don't know if for people who haven't seen it, just so we make it very clear, Honest John is some sort of like half
Middleman?
man
Oh,
fox
half fox?
hobo who speaks pretty well for himself, and then he has his mute mangy cat and or weasel who also has the power of a cartoon character who can just pull
And
things.
they hornswoggle Pinocchio.
There we go.
Yeah,
Okay.
which
Appropriate
means-
It was appropriate.
Yeah, hornswoggle is like a hoax or
Yeah.
bamboozle is a synonym.
Yeah. So because Honest John is just trying to decide like, how can we make a buck? He walks by. He's like, oh, Stromboli's back. Ha 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 ha. And then he's like, oh, a wooden boy. Ha 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 ha. Wait a minute. That's amazing. Surely someone would pay a mint for this wooden boy. And then conveniently remembers from 2 minutes earlier that there's a marionette puppet
It
show
takes
in
him
town.
too long to
Yeah.
put those
For
together.
sure, too long.
Yeah, enough that I was like, like we're not that dumb. We made the connection pretty
we already-
early on.
Yeah, we remembered, like just from the post, we're like, oh, I bet that's where Pinocchio's going to end up.
Yeah.
So they sell him to Stromboli,
Yeah.
who is a giant, exuberant Italian Roma, who seems like more of, I don't know, he's the most stereotypical character of the movie, for sure.
He runs a traveling marionette show.
Yes.
Where, again, we see Jiminy laying eyes on some can puppets, and he gets horned up for those
He's
as
getting
well.
horned up.
Jiminy.
Speaking of horned up puppets, though, like listening to, like following along with that song that Pinocchio sings, is that whole show about how all the puppets want to fuck Pinocchio?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got no
Okay.
strings to hold me down.
Yeah.
And all the puppets are like, hey.
And then he like travels
with
the
me.
world, and like
Yes.
every female puppet comes out. It's like, oh, if only I wasn't with Vladimir in Russia, and then the other, like I feel like it just keeps going to different famous cities, and it's just like some puppet wants to bone Pinocchio.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a great song.
It
We only remembered When I Wish Upon a Star, right? But I've got
And,
no
and I got no strings.
I got no strings.
Yeah, we
That
remember
song
those
slaps.
too.
And I guessed 5 songs.
Yes. Did we have 5 songs total?
I had
I have
5.
4.
I had 5 written down.
Yeah, Wish Upon a Star, which opens the movie, by the way,
Wow.
starting with the hit.
Yeah.
That's a good song.
Great song.
Little Wooden Head.
Yes, Geppetto's song
I
about
didn't write that
Pinocchio,
one
Little
down.
Wooden Head, before he's alive.
Okay.
Give a little whistle.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi Diddly Dee, An Actor's Life for me.
That one's
Honest John's absolute banger
Yeah.
And I've got-
/ hypnotizing song.
Yeah.
And I've got no strings.
Yeah.
Is that all of them?
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
what I have. Yeah.
Those strings and
This
actors life are great.
dulls the pain of
I
getting
guess
the years so
Stromboli
wrong.
just sings another refrain of Got No Strings.
Yeah.
And it's more about how he's a free
he's
Roman Roma guy who's going to drink a champagne.
That's right.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. He's the most problematic living human in the movie because he is like presented as just like, oh, I'm just this gold hoarding, completely immoral Roma traveler, which,
Yeah.
like, especially like Americans probably don't clock too much other than just like, oh, yeah, he's the bad guy in the movie. But like, that was definitely a thing and maybe still is in some countries where it's just like, oh, the shifty Roma, look out for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's too bad. But also it was 1940, so not that surprising.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the failed escape from Stromboli's grasp?
Where Jiminy goes inside the lock.
Yes.
Yes, please.
So Pinocchio's like, hey, all this is so cool. Loving being an actor. Thank you.
So good.
I'm just going to run home and tell my dad.
Yep.
And Stromboli's like, no, you're not leaving, and locks him up in a bird cage. And there's a very pitiful, heartbreaking scene. And Jiminy Cricket, just by virtue of going to say goodbye to his famous actor friend,
Yep.
finds him in the bird cage.
He just stumbles. He stumbles into being a hero.
And there is like all this build up to him trying to get into the lock
Yeah.
and dismantle it. My theory is
Okay.
originally Jiminy Cricket opens the lock
Okay.
and he and Pinocchio escape. And then somebody came in and was like, hey, what about the fairy? We got this beautiful broad.
That's true.
Why we got to look at this ugly cricket without his hat?
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, you want us to bring her back? I'm like, yeah, bring her back. So she comes back in because then they have Jiminy Cricket fail. She comes back in and she's very specific about, I will not be able to come back and help you again.
Yep.
And part of me was like, maybe the animators who drew her were like, we've moved on to another film.
Yes.
We're
Yeah.
working on Cinderella now.
Right.
This is it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is also the scene where we get
The
the
nose.
lion in the nose,
Yes.
which is like probably the most iconic Pinocchio thing, right?
Yes.
But almost it matters, but it's not in the movie in a way that you would expect. Like, this is the thing, when you think of Pinocchio, you think of the nose growing when you lie,
I
right?
assumed that conversation was going to happen like night one.
Yeah.
Right? Where she brings him to life. It's like, oh, by the way, if you lie, your nose is going
Well,
to
she says you have to be what?
truthful,
Truthful, unselfish,
Selfish and brave.
Yeah. And so he's not being truthful. He's violating his directive.
Yes, his prime directive. He is
Yeah.
an android.
That's right.
But also, the implication when he's like lying so hard, the
Yeah.
implication that he can just like create birds out of thin air.
We in the first half we were like, oh, there's some leaves on his nose,
Yeah.
but it's like that's like the stage one.
Yeah.
Like there are leaves, and then there are branches, and then there's a whole nest with birds
like
in it.
digivolves.
And then the birds fly away
Yes.
and the tree leaves fall.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
next lie, turns it. I don't know if it dies or
Autumn?
just changes seasons.
Yeah, it's unclear. It's
Just
unclear.
like some snow would appear, I guess. If
Maybe
you kept
next
going.
time, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And I hadn't ever like heard all the logic behind it, right? Of a lie will grow and grow until it's as plain as the nose on your face.
Yeah, I did not appreciate when I was a child how all of Pinocchio's transformations are actually just like old sayings made manifest, right?
Yeah.
Because like Pleasure Island is just like a giant, terrifying metaphor.
Yeah, a bunch of boys being jackasses,
Yeah.
right? And then they literally become that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And apparently like some possibly Satan in the form of a British coachman decides to like, I can exploit this metaphor for my own personal gain.
Oh,
That is the scariest character in a Disney movie I've ever
Oh my
seen.
God. We'll get to that.
Coachman.
So yes. Do we have anything more to say about Stromboli, the horny puppet show?
The only thing is that when he threatens Pinocchio,
yes.
he points to, he's like, I'll chop you up for firewood. And there's like already a chopped up puppet in there.
What in the world? What was that?
Like, that is so dark. And then there's just like hanging marionettes.
Why was that puppet there?
It was like Saw or something.
Yeah, like there is a story there that fascinates me because like he'd already thrown that puppet into the firewood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like,
What did it do?
what happened there? Yeah, exactly. Like what
Was
happened?
it also sentient?
I mean, we don't know how often the blue fairy comes down, and you know,
That's true.
I mean, if she's coming from a star, she could hit anywhere in Europe easy.
Yeah.
So he might have found another magic puppet.
I love the idea that there's some other fairies that are like, oh my gosh, you know what the blue fairy did again?
Yeah, you're not going to believe this.
This fucking Stromboli killed another animated marionette.
Just stop.
Maybe that's why she comes down to let him out. Is like the fairy authority like sees Stromboli, like sees that Pinocchio's with Stromboli, and they're just like, oh God, again, and like called her. I was like, listen,
You got to take some responsibility for the puppets you
this
bring to
can't
life.
happen again.
And before you let him out of the cage, make sure you do the nose thing so he understands.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Come on.
But for how iconic the nose thing is, you'd think it would come back as
Yeah,
like
I
an
thought it was a whole
assumed
thing.
it did.
intentional line to solve some problem
Yeah.
with a long nose.
Right.
Yeah.
Or
I thought it would come up like
No.
multiple scenes.
The only
Yeah.
thing that comes back to be helpful in the future is his donkey tail.
that's true.
Yeah. All right. Are we ready
Let's
to move
get into
on?
it.
To the
Let's
coachman.
get into it.
Yes.
Honest John and Gideon again trying to make a buck.
Yeah.
Just they find the coachman in a bar.
They're just in a bar bragging about how they hornswoggled Stromboli
Yeah.
/ Pinocchio.
And the whole time, I think this British guy is just going to roll his eyes at
Yeah,
him.
he's just
He's
hanging out. Yeah.
eating a meal.
I
It's
just
like, you wanna
assumed
make
he was a
some real
background
money.
character.
I need a bunch of bad boys.
It was insane.
And he's not even like, they're like, okay, we'll get some. He's like, you better get him for me or you're dead, basically.
Yeah.
Threatens Honest John.
Yeah, he's like, it has to happen tonight. He already has a boat full ready to go at midnight. Who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah. And where is he getting these boys?
It's a lot of bad boys in Italy.
A lot of
I
bad
guess.
boys. They don't go to school. He's probably the devil, right?
I guess.
Because like there's that point where he's like, they won't
temptation.
come back as boys, and he gets all red and pointy, and then he seems to have like an entire island crew of like shadow demons. or whatever.
Yeah.
Those freaked me out as well.
Right?
Just like the goo people.
But it is like he has some power, some magical power to turn them into donkeys.
That's what I'm not
right?
sure about. I'm still
it
not clear if
his
it's
power?
him or if it's Pleasure Island.
I thought it was the Pleasure Island itself somehow channels
Maybe.
bad
Oh,
boy
because that's
energy.
right. Because they say, something's forbidden or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, they'll come back, but not as boys.
Yeah.
Like they won't be able to tell.
Yeah, because like
Yeah.
Honest John knows about Pleasure Island and seems like freaked out by it.
Yeah.
Maybe it used to be called like Literal Island or something.
Or like turn you into a donkey
Yes.
island.
Yeah.
But that was too hard to say on the maps.
So,
Yeah.
So the sailors like kept bringing it back down, and then one guy had like a decent time there. It was like, oh, it was a pleasure, and then that just disseminated through the ranks.
But yeah, it is basically, I think we guessed it would be like Sloper's Teen Town.
Yes,
And they're smoking cigars, they're playing pool, they're drinking beer, they're breaking.
it is a literal theme
house,
park.
yeah.
There's like a Ferris wheel. There's I still am not sure if the coachman was the announcer across the park or there's some other guy in a booth somewhere with a microphone like, come on over to the model home for destruction and fun.
Yeah, the model home for destruction.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
It is a good idea. I have heard that in Japan there are hotel rooms you can go and rent and wreck for
Yeah.
a fee.
I think they
To,
do that
like,
here in some
release your
cities. I
rage?
think in some cities they do that here.
I get
If I
it.
thought it worked, I'd go.
I'd do it.
Yeah.
I don't think it would work. I'd still want to do it. Maybe I'm
I think I just feel guilty about all those like electronic pieces. I would
sure.
specify no electronics.
sure. So you're not getting a bunch of like
Just like
lithium and
plastics and
Oh,
stuff.
sure. Stuff.
heavy
you gotta-
metals and
You want
Yeah. I want
you want
just
everything to be
China.
responsibly.
you want to check in there.
Yes.
You want to check in on their e-recycling
Yeah, exactly.
process.
I
Yeah.
want to
Yeah,
just make sure
that's fair.
someone's going to
That's
make a
fair.
beautiful mosaic.
Okay, real quick. Let's just
Yeah.
hop back like 5 minutes in the movie because on the coachman's coach, Pinocchio meets Lampwick,
Yeah.
the one boy who is actually drawn,
Yeah.
who is, I'm pretty sure, 45 years old.
Yeah.
Like he is just like, hey, what do you say, huh?
No coppas at all. Let's get in there.
And
Get
does
into a
not
scrap.
listen to a word Pinocchio
No.
says.
No. Pinocchio. Calls him
Pinocchio.
Pinocchio.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no. Jiminy
Jimmy
Cricket.
calls
It was
him
Jiminy, yeah.
Oh. Anyway.
But yeah, so he and Lampwick become the best of friends when they go to Pleasure Island, and then apparently just like go on such a bender, they just don't even notice that every single other child on the island has disappeared.
Yeah.
And are having the saddest pool game in the world.
Yeah.
I don't understand why pool is grouped in with all the bad things.
I mean,
is pool like...
I think
it's a swindler's game, right? It can be, at least.
I think it used to have a pretty bad rap.
Because it was in like the halls.
It wasn't like in people's basements until like the 70s or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think it's like where people would,
Sure. It'd be at like a pub.
Dirty, seedy pub kind of.
But yes, I agree. It was funny that it was just like, what are they doing? Oh, they're just playing pool.
Right. It's the same as like The Music Man, right? That's the same theme in that musical.
Pool?
We got,
Oh, is that the pool he's talking about?
Pool.
I've never seen it.
Capital Pool. It rhymes with pool.
That's what he's talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, I always assumed it was a swimming pool. I've never seen The Music Man.
No, I'm pretty sure it's pool.
All right. That makes more sense. Honestly, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
So Lampwick, the middle-aged boy that hangs out with Pinocchio.
Wants to get in fights and smoke cigars.
I do. Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's right. There's a place you just go in.
That was very funny. The Rough House being the first place in the park. And it is literally just like a big tent for them to fight it.
Have a fight club. And we get a cringy representation of native folk just throwing cigars.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's almost like Vegas style, honestly.
Yeah, it was just like these like weird
cigars.
They're made of wood. Do you think Geppetto got commissioned to build those?
He'd make a mint.
He probably did. Honestly, he's got a nice house.
I don't know.
I mean,
I'd just like to think no.
Okay, let's assume there is a less ethical wood carver in town. Who like, they went to Geppetto first because he's the best one. He's just like, no, I'm not going to help the children of Italy smoke cigars and scrap.
No, they should wait till they get to be ancient, 40 years old, and get a pipe.
That's right. I did appreciate, like, it was unfortunate that, they were just like all very stereotypical, like Native American totem men. But I did appreciate that it was just like, the imagery aside, I did enjoy that it was just like a hallway of like automatons just like shooting out like a dozen cigars at a time.
Yeah. And teens don't listen to the part, but they do make the cigars look cool.
But do they though?
And tell Pinocchio is gonna barf.
Oh my
but
gosh.
Like the smoke, the animation of them like getting smoked down.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
Very appealing.
Okay.
Smoke
Beth is going to say something.
No, I wasn't. But thank you.
This is just a lot of dudes talking about.
We're talking about Pleasure Island, an island for boys.
No, it's just a lot.
Get your own island where you turn into a
Yeah.
ungulate? No.
What?
Are they ungulates?
No, they have split hooves, right? Ungulates.
I don't know.
Ursine?
That's a pig.
That's a bear. Oh,
No, that's a bear. You're right.
Damn it.
Who knows, man?
Well, I'm sorry I interrupted your flow. I'm just saying it was a lot.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. One thing that happens though is when they do cut back and you find the boys, like the boys that have been turned into jackasses.
Oh, Alexander.
It hurt my heart.
It was rough.
So much because they have them like bray. They're like, "What's your name?" And if they bray, they're like, "This one's ready," and they throw them
That
in
was wild.
Salt mines.
Yeah.
to salt mines. And then, and the poor little donkeys are all braying. And then they're all like dressed in cutie little clothes, like little sailor
they still
outfits.
have their boy clothes on.
And this one goes, "What's your name?" He goes, "Alexander." He's like, "You're not ready yet." And they kick him into a corner of a cave.
Yeah, I have a question about
And they're
those.
all calling for their mom.
Oh, God. It was awful.
I have a question about those not quite ready donkeys. Like, what's their plan? They're just going to throw them back in the island. They'll like eventually find something cool enough that they're like, yeah, I'll keep being a bad boy. Or what?
It's probably just time. They're like, they've already
Oh, like the curse is already like.
they've already
sure,
done
sure,
the
sure.
deed, and just like it's got to work through their
Oh, I see.
system.
He was just impatient when he
Yeah.
grabbed them. I see.
And yeah, I guess he's making money by selling donkeys, right?
Which is-
once at circus, once at salt mine.
Yeah,
But it's like, is there
what?
that much demand for donkeys?
Probably in
much money
18
in
whatever. Yeah,
donkeys?
probably.
I guess. I don't know. It was heartbreaking. That and Geppetto looking for Pinocchio in the rain.
Oh, and the thunder claps just as he shouts his name right by Stromboli's carriage.
It was like, I think it would have been very sad to me even before I became a parent. But as a parent, I was just like,
It's rough.
also like extra upset about it.
Yeah, it's rough.
Not that you have to, you know what, cut this all out.
No, it's important.
It is, but I don't know. I feel bad. I don't mean
Why
to
do
be
you
all
feel
like
bad?
parents feel things more, But you know,
I mean,
once you get like a dog and you see a dog on TV and
Yeah.
something happens to it, like you just feel it stronger.
You know that like your neural network like literally mutated when you had that kid. Right? Like it's fine if you felt harder when the fictional parent was missing its child. Like you have a biological imperative to relate to Geppetto. It's fine.
I was thinking a lot about the Disneyland storybook ride for Pinocchio, which is pretty good. But there's one part where you come around a turn in the cart and Geppetto's there with a little candle nub shouting for Pinocchio. We never saw candle nub in this because he's got a lantern because it's raining. But like that same energy of just like he's out in the streets of wherever in Italy looking for his lost boy. Yeah, it's tragic.
Brutal.
It's true. They are almost like, intentional about it at the very beginning. They're like, in town. In this beautiful town.
Yeah, for sure.
So who knows
Can
what it
we
was.
quickly go back to how cool smoking is for a second?
Oh.
Because I just remembered.
Cover your ears, teens.
I just remember the coolest thing that happens in this movie is when Honest John and Gideon are bragging in the bar. Gideon smokes a smoke hole and then dunks it into his beer like a donut, and it's the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it's very cool.
I was very happy during that moment.
I lost my mind when he did that.
Yeah, Gideon's got some real cartoon character magic.
Oh, yeah.
He cleans out Honest John's ears and then can listen to the whispering through Honest John's head.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that was great.
That was great. Oh, man. Okay. Pleasure Island. Lampwick does, in fact, turn into a donkey. Oh, wait. We did learn that smoking is actually bad, kids, because Pinocchio has a rough time smoking a cigar.
He takes a big drag and then turns
Of
green
a
as hell.
cigar. You're not supposed to do that.
Speaking of someone who once got sick smoking a cigar, I found that very relatable.
Yeah.
Can't inhale those, kids. You got to just let them.
You got to be like Bill Clinton.
You got to let the flavor. What?
I don't understand smoking, so you don't inhale a cigar?
Not a cigar.
If you're like a
What do you do with it?
chain-smoking
Just go
monster,
pop, pop.
I mean, you just let it like rest in your mouth and let it I mean, the tobacco will go through your gums. That's why chewing tobacco works,
Okay.
right?
Sure.
You're
you
like,
just, like-
tasting the smoke flavor.
Yeah, you just kind of let it just
than-
like
So you don't breathe it in, you just like,
you
eat
breathe it into your mouth and let it hang out.
Okay.
And then like if you're like a 78-year-old war veteran, you probably let it sink down a little further into your body and you don't care anymore. But like if you're, say, for example, a 19 or 20-year-old college student, you learn very quickly you should probably not inhale it.
Yeah, it's not like a cigarette. Like a cigarette you would inhale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's sweet. I never smoked.
I
Except
did.
cigars, baby.
Oh. And you know what? They say like even if you only have a cigarette like once a year, whatever, it's you're still addicted.
Sure.
That's real.
Yeah.
So cool it, teens. Don't
Yeah.
start.
Yeah.
Hey, learn from Pinocchio.
Pinocchio will turn into a donkey.
I did appreciate that. I really appreciated the like moral tale that Pinocchio lived. He lived in his own moment where he's watching Lampwick turn into a jackass. The ears pop out. He just like looks at the beer and slides the beer away.
Yeah.
Then Lampwick's tail pops out. He looks at the cigar and just puts the cigar away. Good job, Pinocchio. But it's too late.
It's too late.
You also have
partially
ears.
too late.
Yeah.
But
But
Jiminy
he-
gets him out of there.
Yes, before he goes full Lampwick. Because Lampwick does get full donkeyed.
Yeah.
Although he's still talking, I guess.
And then all those donkey children unresolved.
No,
They're
they're
still
working the salt
human
mines.
trafficking on. They don't bring down the operation.
No.
It's all still
The
happening.
coachman is still kidnapping children.
Yeah.
It's devastating.
And also the other established villains not involved anymore. We never
No.
see Honest John again or Gideon.
Presumably they got a huge sack of cash.
Yeah, and then
They
they
just-
go back to Geppetto's house, right?
Yeah.
That feels like the end of the
Like,
tale.
okay, yeah, we're good. He got off of Pleasure Island. Hooray.
He went back home, meets back with Geppetto.
Yeah.
Everything's fine.
Nope.
But no, we need a third villain.
Much like when Scarlet returns to Tara,
Yes,
and thinks all of her
exactly.
problems will be solved if she can
looks
just
in
get
the
home.
house.
You are only at intermission.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it is so sad to see they do such a beautiful job of making Geppetto's home feel cold.
Oh, it's so creepy.
like even before you see the spider webs
Mm-hmm.
and stuff, it just immediately feels cold in a way that you feel in your body.
yeah, it was so like warming and comforting when you first saw it because it was, a tush warmer.
Yeah.
But now, yeah, it's just like cold and dark, and like the bed is empty. The cat bed is empty. There's a little ring on the table where Cleo's bowl used to be. I don't know why he took Cleo with him, but whatever.
Yeah.
I guess because someone has to feed her, right? That makes sense.
Oh, that's his family.
That's fair.
And he took to the sea.
Sweet water baby.
Yeah, for reasons that were not clear, he decided, I will take to the ocean to find my boy.
And the way they find out, once again, just to remind our listener, is that a gilded letter falls from the sky.
Yes, because as you pointed out, she did say, I can't come help you after this. And she stuck to her word.
Yeah.
But she does send a nice note, and Jiminy Cricket
honestly,
reads it.
like,
Doesn't fully even finish the letter before they set out for the sea, but that is like in character.
That's true. Like, she might have had some details, just like, also, like, Monstro lives right here. Go to this exact coordinate.
Yeah, Pinocchio just ties a rock to his tail and jumps off the closest cliff.
Wild.
He's like, I guess I'll search the whole ocean.
Yes, which is, I mean, to be fair, is the logic of a 48-hour-year-old boy.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is where, like, I know it's a magic movie,
Are
but
we talking
like,
Jiminy Cricket?
yeah, what?
Yes. What is happening? How?
Like, I get why Pinocchio can be
course.
underwater for that long.
He's a wooden
but
boy.
Jiminy Cricket is like breathing, right?
I guess, because he's talking.
I
don't
think
know
he
how
just is
insects work.
sucking little oxygen out of the little bubbles that come up.
Yeah.
But the most bubbles are coming out of his mouth. That's what was so
Listen,
confusing.
I don't know.
What made it, because I agree with you. I was in the weeds on this. Because at first it was like, well, whatever. We just accept that they can both talk underwater. And by talk, I mostly mean the same audio of the child actor saying father over and over and over. But there's a point where Jiminy Cricket gets, for whatever reason that I don't remember, gets trapped in a bubble.
Yeah.
And then his hat's in another bubble. And then to get his hat, he like pokes the bubble with his umbrella, gets the hat. And then the water starts coming into the bubble. And then he seems to be like keeping his head as far up into the air as possible.
Yeah.
But at that point, it's like, Jiminy, you've already been walking for like 5 hours underwater. No
Bubble
problem.
pops, now he's fully underwater and he's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Eventually they find a bunch of tuna,
Yes.
right?
Oh yeah.
And they get sucked up into Monstro, where again we see
How long have they been there?
Geppetto's in there with a wrecked ship and Figaro and Cleo, and they think they're going to die, and then they get a bunch of tuna.
Yeah.
Well, because it's been like a solid week.
Okay.
They've eaten all the tuna from the last time
Right.
the whale was away.
And again, I have to point out what a strange day that must be for Cleo the fish. Cleo is sitting there in her little bowl, and here she has her two omnivore relatives talking about how they've run out of fish. They're going to starve to death. And she just has to sit there trapped in her bowl in the middle of the shipwreck, just, I guess, waiting for the guillotine.
Which, by the way, is also confusing. There is a fishbowl inside of a whale in the ocean.
Yes.
But there's like plenty of air debris. It's its
Yeah.
own ecosystem.
It
Well, the thing that I
rules.
found,
I love
like
that.
Yeah.
my biggest, most moment was watching the whales sleeping at the bottom of the ocean.
Right.
Because like actually they float.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess he's like,
you know.
I guess you could argue that he's just holding his breath for a very long time.
Well, yeah, and I mean
Which they do.
they do,
but,
and like
yeah.
this, you know, it's only been recently that people have been able to see how whales sleep.
How
But,
do they sleep?
They sleep like they sleep vertically.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Really?
Or at least they found a whole pod of sleeping whales that were all sleeping
Oh, and
vertically.
then they can just like keep their mouth open a crack or something?
I don't
Do they
understand.
do that? Oh, that's sharks, where they half their brain sleeps at a time.
Yeah.
That's dolphins.
Is it dolphins too?
I mean, it might be sharks too, but yeah.
Because
Definitely
sharks
dolphins.
got to move.
I was
Yeah.
very recently at Discovery Bay,
Nice.
local reference. I learned this.
Okay.
My favorite part of the whale scene is when they're talking about how this is it and they're going to die. And Geppetto says, and I quote, "I never thought it would end this way, starving to death inside a whale." Yeah, no shit, dude. Like, who would ever have thought, like, there's certainly a chance I may die someday in the belly of a whale, starving away with my cat and my fish that I refuse to eat, which, honestly, good for him. Respect.
Yeah. And
No,
also,
Geppetto
like,
rules.
But, like,
not even a snack, too.
you know it was tempting. Like, on the darkest, in his darkest
and
moments.
to have like a freshwater fish. I mean,
Yeah.
it's wild.
It is. Yeah, I agree. Beth is right. It isn't wild that Cleo is even okay through this process,
But Pinocchio comes and saves the day because he figures out they could burn the whole ship.
which rocks.
Oh,
And
you're
they
really
do.
racing ahead now.
Yeah.
Checks watch.
Okay, great. So Pinocchio figures it out. He's gotten smart.
Yes.
Yeah.
But during that scene, Geppetto has fully given up. Like
Yes.
he won't. He's like, "See, I told you it'll never work."
Yeah.
Oh, it was so amazing too. Is that like part of me was like they have this whole barrel now full of tuna fish.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Geppetto hasn't eaten in a week, and Pinocchio's like all like, "I'm building a fire. We're gonna get out of here." And I was like, "You might want to give him a snack
Some
first.
calories.
Yeah.
Give him some calories. He's an old, well, not that old, it turns out, but he's an older dude.
He
Like,
is hungry because every time Pinocchio is pointing out part of the plate, he's like, "Yes, smoked fish would be great." And he just like isn't picking up on it at all until he burns his chair,
What are we going to sit on?
which
Yeah,
is such a
So good.
that's huge grandpa energy. Like, where will I sit now?
I get it.
But yeah, Pinocchio is a kid of action,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So and not overthinking for
It
sure.
is wild. Like Dan bet that accurately that smoke would come out of Monster's blowhole, but like it is wild when he opens his mouth how much smoke is actually building up inside that whale.
Yeah. No skeleton inside. I thought there would be a skeleton in
Rough.
there. Not that dark. But then Monster's like pissed.
You
Yeah.
kind of see his skeleton in a way, right?
Monsters?
Because you're in the stomach, and
Oh,
so
yeah, you
there's like
see
kind of
the
the
like,
outline
yeah,
of the.
you see like
yeah.
the
Rib
spine
cage.
and the ribs,
Yeah.
which also isn't how whales work, I don't think. But
Well,
whatever.
There's just a big empty space.
We
in
don't know what
there.
kind of whale Monster is. That's
Yeah,
Gotta be a
that's true.
sperm whale. That's the biggest
I mean,
toothed
it-
whale.
But it can't be a.
it could be a monster
regular
whale,
whale. Like
that
Monstro?
went
Come
extinct in 1888 or whatever.
Yeah.
Monster's the last of its kind, like Godzilla.
All right.
Nice.
And then they
But
smoked
yeah.
him to death. He's probably okay.
No,
he's
he's
fine. He
He
just
just
smacked a
sneezed.
rock real hard.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. He didn't love it, but he's okay.
He's okay. Okay.
It is terrifying when Monster is just like out for revenge, though.
Yeah, I was wondering like why a whale is a villain. It doesn't feel like a typical villain to have. And I was wondering how far removed this was from Moby Dick.
Not that far. No,
Was
wait.
there a time
Wait.
where we were mad about whales?
You mean the Pinocchio story?
Yeah. But I guess if the whale's in the original like old folk tale, then
When
who
was
knows?
Moby Dick?
Like
I don't know.
18 something.
So was Pinocchio.
Oh, like their story.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there was like, I mean,
That must be based
there
in
was, like, a
some
lot of whaling.
fact, right? Where whales would sometimes just like
whales
fuck up a
would
boat,
charge.
right?
Oh yeah,
okay.
Okay.
Moby Dick is based on a whale going after a boat.
Okay. And we've seen
I can tell you the whole long
orcas
story if
in
you're
the
ever
modern-
interested.
Sorry.
It's so good. Okay, so
Wait, which story?
this a whaling ship.
Moby Dick?
Moby Dick was based on this.
The real okay.
Real
I thought you were
life-
going to tell us the entire story of Moby Dick.
No,
Call me Ahab.
no.
Queequeg is terrifying, but we'll share a bed in this hotel. Oh, we've met Ahab. He is obsessed and violent. Now here's 200 pages of whale facts until you get back to the actual goddamn story. I had to read this book in college. God damn it, Melville. Sorry.
There was this whaling ship.
Okay.
And it was actually, it was a whaling ship. And so it had like smaller ships that were attached to it. And they would go out and actually harpoon the whales. And there was a problem with one of the smaller ships. And so they were banging on it to like fix it.
Sure.
And out of nowhere, they see like this juvenile, like male, very large whale kind of back up.
Oh,
and
shit.
they were all kind of like, wait, what? And it like builds up speed and rams into the middle of the ship. And the main, not the captain, but the second in command
Sure.
was standing there with a harpoon, but was so stunned that was happening. That was just not the normal events. It did not harpoon the whale. And everybody was immediately really mad at him. And he was like, well, maybe it'll be okay. Oh, no, it's not okay. Because then the whale goes out a little farther to build up more speed.
Shit.
And so while this is happening, the very smart navigator starts grabbing stuff. People are grabbing food and whatever they can and just piling it into the little buoys,
Yeah.
And sure enough, the whale like builds up a big head of steam and puts a big enough crack in the side of the ship that it capsizes the ship. So they move everything into these dinghies. They've got like 4 of these smaller boats. And this comes up to me all the time, that they realize right then that they will never be better hydrated, better fed, or more mentally fit to make a decision than they are in that moment, that it's only going to deteriorate from there. So they agree to make a plan and stick to it no matter what. And in the end, just the guy who fails to harpoon the whale and a cabin boy are the only two who survive, and they get interviewed. And that's the
Damn.
newspaper article.
Wow.
Whoa.
And in hindsight, they think what it was the banging on the buoy was like an aggressive sound.
I mean, Monstro's
the
got
water.
huge sandworm energy, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like he is huge. Like he is the Shai Khalud of the Italian Sea,
Yeah.
for sure. Where my dune head's at.
I agree.
Hell
I
yeah.
was going to say, we are really covering a lot of territory.
Okay, one real quick thing about
Yeah.
Monstro. One last thing. Another thing Geppetto says inside the whale that kind of like broke my brain. He's like, when Pinocchio is like, "Oh, what are we like? Let's get out." He's like, "No, I've tried every way."
What?
I'm making
Come on.
significant eye contact with Dan right now.
Trying to get out the poop hole.
I'm saying he tried anus and it didn't happen. Which fair. I mean, I bet a whale's anus has insane crushing pressure on it, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
probably.
yeah.
God damn.
That's a lot of muscle.
I'm just saying, like, there is an entire movie we didn't see of Geppetto and
Sure, trying
Figaro
to
and
get
Cleo trying to get their way out of that
I just
whale.
not until this moment have I ever pictured a whale's anus.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, it's probably
Huge.
huge.
Yes.
I'm going to write it down. We'll look into it.
Thank you.
I was going to send pics.
Yep.
So they get back to town, and
They think Pinocchio's
first
dead.
we see face down Pinocchio in the water,
Which is
dark image.
rough.
Yeah, they think he's dead, but the blue fairy's like, okay, I guess you did it.
I question
Here's
that.
life.
Because he was definitely brave. He was definitely selfless. Was he ever truthful?
Well, he stopped lying after his nose.
But
thing did it.
stopping lying is not the same thing as like being in a position where you could lie. Because I feel like he kept getting into positions where he shouldn't have lied, and he did. I don't know if he ever got in a position where he couldn't.
It's true. And
know
they
what I'm
kind
saying?
of flirted with it because at one point he gets questioned by Geppetto.
Mm-hmm.
And he has the opportunity to say, "Oh no, I followed to become an actor and I
Yeah.
made a bunch of mistakes and like whatever."
Yeah.
But instead, Geppetto's like, "Oh, never mind about all that.
Yeah.
We've run out of time to animate.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's just say we're cool and set some stuff on fire."
Yeah, because
Yeah.
when he was first like, "Oh, your ears and stuff," like I thought it was gonna be like, "Oh, yes, I was a
Oh,
bad
yeah.
boy," and I was like, "Oh, then he can tell the truth." But no, he's just
Yeah.
like, "Oh, look, I also have a tail, ha ha ha."
Yeah.
And then they're
That's
like, "Well,
true. He didn't try to hide it.
no, I guess."
It's close enough.
All right, I'll take that.
That also accounts for her lack of enthusiasm.
Yeah, I mean,
true.
she's got too many dead marionettes on her hands.
She's got to have a win.
gotta get
She
it.
needs a win.
And then, in my opinion,
Yeah.
Pinocchio, the marionette child, iconic animated character.
Yes.
Pinocchio, the real boy, looks kind of like trash.
Wow.
I'll put it out there.
You
I
saying-
do not like real boy Pinocchio.
Are you
I
saying
gotta
this is
say-
a beast to man situation?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think it starts with him as a puppet because I think before he's animated, he's even cuter,
It's true.
right?
When he's just a little wooden head.
Yeah.
This is an allegory for our time. You're always cuter in theory than you are in real life.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
when you're
Wow.
younger.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. I mean, he's still an adorable little cherub, right?
When there's a moment during the animation that I was like, ooh,
Sure.
but then he kind of resolves into a
I
cute
feel like
kid.
when they're dancing, he's pretty cute.
Yeah,
He's doing his little.
He's like I think it's mostly he doesn't match Geppetto. Geppetto is still kind of a cartoon character, and real boy Pinocchio is more of a real boy, kind of like the Blue Fairy as well.
Sure.
And they don't look like the other people in this
different
movie,
team.
which are cartoonish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More than realistic.
I see. So you're
I
saying
don't know that they were a different team.
I mean, Blue Fairy definitely looked like they like had a lady come in and they painted over her footage, right? Which they used to do sometimes with those movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they even had. There's even go on the internet and find the charming footage of the aerial singer model person just doing all the moves on camera, so they have a reference for the mermaid.
Okay.
Seemed like she was having a great
I'm
time.
not going to do
May I
that.
just mention my
I'm not
daughter?
talking to you. I'm talking to our listeners.
Okay. Maybe Molly will post it after she posts whaling in his pictures.
Listen, our listeners are desperate to hear that my daughter is 4, don't dox me, and takes dance class, double don't dox.
Adorable.
And one of the stretches they do is like basically like pigeon pose or whatever,
Okay.
but they do the aerial song. So they lift up their bodies and the teacher sings it and all the kids sing it. And it's favorite part of this movie she'll never watch.
So like, why wouldn't she watch it?
She was
Oh, because she's
really
terrified. I
scared
see.
by most movies. We've got P.S. Parents, if you're looking for something where it's not too scary, I recommend Mary Poppins because the enemy is capitalism
Nice.
and there's nothing truly scary in it.
Except for capitalism.
Except for capitalism.
Yeah.
The real
And the
fear.
vampire cabal that runs the banks.
Oh, right. But that's like, I mean, that'll go over a kid's head, presumably, right?
Yeah.
Where were we?
So your kid dances to
Ariel.
this is her song where she's like, I want a fork.
Yes.
I wish I had feet. That one.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's
Right?
her-
Did I get the
What's it
lyrics right?
called?
It's
There's
an
a
iconic
seagull.
moment where
Yeah.
she comes up over
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
waves and she
that
goes,
is iconic.
Part of the world or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Got it. That's adorable.
It is so cute.
It's cute.
And I do it with her sometimes.
Nice.
Nice.
Anyway,
Okay, the last thing I want to talk about.
Please.
I think we've talked about this on pod before. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is the 9th Shrek movie or whatever. It is way better than
You have
it
said
has
this.
any right to be.
Yeah.
But there is someone doing a Jiminy Cricket character in there with a hard Jimmy Stewart accent impression.
Ooh.
Like, very obviously they're going for it. And
Sure.
it's a delight.
I love that.
And so I was thinking about that this whole time. And Jiminy Cricket's kind of Jimmy Stewart-ish. I think. I don't know if
I
that's...
thought about it the entire
I
time.
was wondering if it was an intentional. I did very minor Wikipedia research.
Dan was curious about one specific
Just one
fact.
little
It
thing.
up, and now he has facts.
in which I
.org.
asked my watch when was Jimmy Stewart born.
Nice.
And it told me 1908, and he acted from 1935 until some year.
Yeah.
So he was on the scene at this point. And I
Okay.
kind of wonder if they were
Okay.
like, that Jimmy Stewart, let's make him a cricket, sort of.
Sure. Do you think that's why his name's Jiminy Cricket?
Maybe.
Because I'm pretty
'Cause
sure in the
kind
book
of
he's just
got,
called
like
the Cricket.
a little bit like, oh, Pinocchio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to do the right thing. Oh, geez, I'm Jiminy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had that same vibe when I was watching. I was like, this is almost Jimmy Stewart, but
Yeah.
it's not quite.
Right. Yeah. Anyway.
I think Jiminy is just fun.
I agree.
He's fun. And first half listeners may remember I was worried he would be racist in some way.
Yes.
I don't think so.
No.
It was fine. If someone was going to send me an article that was like, actually, he's very racist, I would read it and probably be like, okay, you're right.
Right.
But nothing jumped out at me.
Yeah.
in
This
viewing.
one. Yeah, this movie definitely has a real like we're dumb. So if you tell us something's actually bad, we're probably going to agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I love Jiminy.
Yeah,
I
check
love,
out.
I love him using his umbrella as a tool.
I did
Yeah.
too, and as a trumpet sometimes for fun or a trombone, whatever.
Oh, and
Check out Ewan McGregor's charming voice acting as the cricket in Del Toro's version. What a joy!
Oh. Well, now I want to watch that.
Your kid would hate it.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
terrifying.
Sounds terrible. I might be too scared to watch it. I'm going to have to watch it Beth style. Make it tiny
Just
or
the
far
smallest
away.
screen.
Yeah,
Watch I watch.
the villain in that one is Mussolini, if that helps.
Oh, well, that's. Oh, do you think Stromboli was supposed to be Mussolini?
Oh, I have no idea.
No.
Probably not. Too far. Too far.
I mean, I should say there are villains that are Mussolini adjacent, and Mussolini is just in the movie. But the
Ah.
villains are more adjacent to Mussolini.
Oh no, I was just
Sort of like the
tie some
Indiana
things
Jones
together.
movies, right? Where like he never
Okay.
like confronts Hitler. He just, I mean, he does, but like in a, you know what I'm saying?
Beth and Dan are both looking at their phones.
Yeah, Stan or
Well,
Beth.
before we get to our final ratings of the movie we just watched, Pinocchio, we like to turn to our fans.
Oh.
Specifically, our fans on Discord, a
Oh.
text-based chat platform you have access to if you are a Patreon.
Patreon.com/let'srecall. I love the fact that you knew I would probably say it, so you just started saying .com to cover your bases.
Gotta get it in there. So we asked for Q's and C's about Pinocchio. Dan, you sent a charming GIF of Pinocchio rejecting alcohol.
Oh, yeah.
As all teens should.
Yes. It was either that or the creepy apple dance
Yeah.
where
And I
his
gotta
head
say,
stays stable.
foamy mugs of beer in
The
cartoons
best.
look great.
They look great. Beer looks so good in cartoons.
Yeah, it does.
Smoking looks cool. Beer looks great.
Anyway, Taylor History asked, is it time for the cast to play Two Truths and a Lie?
Not right now.
Not right now. That sounds like good bonus content at a later date.
It does.
But I do like that idea.
Yeah.
Oh, lie. I get it. I was like, how is this about Pinocchio?
What happens if Pinocchio says, Fra goes on to ask, what happens if Pinocchio says, my nose will grow? Oh, damn. It's
Damn.
like the Boodle Horse.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a paradox.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe his butt will like grow or something.
We didn't. We're just gonna move on.
Oh, I don't know. I think this doesn't sound like a question that needs answering. It sounds a rhetorical one. Also, he put a period at the end and not a question mark.
Oh,
So it's a C.
okay.
So
there we go.
it's,
No need to
yeah.
answer. We acknowledge your comment.
Yeah. Someone said his butt will grow.
Acknowledge.
That's right.
Yeah, we like it.
The reference machine says, I remember the donkey transformation scene being upsetting and the cat being unfairly cute. You remember correctly.
Oh,
Yes.
100.
Absolutely.
True.
That cat is so goddamn cute.
I could talk about Figaro for another hour.
Oh my God.
He moves so well and
good.
cat-like when he's receiving rubs, that
Yes.
cat movement of like, here's my hand, I'm going to push my body
Yes.
onto your hand.
And that part where like Geppetto is like scratching his butt and he's falling asleep while he does it and he just keeps rising his butt higher and higher. And
Yeah.
eventually Geppetto falls asleep and he's like still got his butt up waiting. He's just like, That's so good.
Best cat.
Best cat.
All right. Taylor History goes on to ask, Pinocchio's wish is to become a real boy. Once he does, is he now a boy forever? Will he age?
Ooh, great question.
Yes. I think the real boy aspect means a real boy is a boy who ages into an adult.
A boy who
You know,
poops.
that's what I was just thinking. I was like, he's going to have to learn how to like pee and poop.
I had
Yeah,
that
it's like that
thought the second he transformed.
Futurama episode where Bender becomes human and he wants to go eat nachos and poop at the same time because it's so awesome. I think about that a lot.
Yeah. As soon as he transformed, my first thought was, oh, he has to poop now.
Yeah.
That was your first thought?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
What a burden.
And you know, if you think about it, these poor babies are born and then they have to learn how to poop while lying on their backs.
Yeah. And their muscles aren't strong enough to fart.
Like,
Yeah.
how do you?
And then the first poop is just like a bunch of weird little hairs.
Hot tip for new parents. Windy.
yeah.
It's a good product. It's a little tube you stick in a baby's butt to help them
But
fart.
you be
Oh.
careful. You put some ointment on there first, and you be so gentle because that little butthole is tiny.
It's not a whale.
It's not a
okay?
whale butt.
Your child is
Too
not
much
a
butthole
whale.
talk on this episode.
Excuse me.
This is
Pinocchio
Pinocchio.
set the precedent in the first 10 minutes.
And also, you can just bounce your baby too. And there, I also think about a chiropractor, but who specializes.
Specifically for farts?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, not for farts, for babies.
But for baby farts?
Yeah, my child, don't
child.
dox me. When she was a baby, had like lots and lots of gas and stuff. We were giving her gas drops and trying all this stuff. And then I took her to the same chiropractor I took my cat to. She's a very accomplished chiropractor
Okay.
who happens to also work with kids.
This
and
isn't
animals
like
and
a
whatever. This
crime
isn't like a
movie where
crime
you like go to
movie,
a
no.
vet because that's all you can
No,
afford.
it wasn't like that. And I think I was taking my cat in and I had my baby and she's like, do you want me to do, she's like, I'll do the most gentle. And I was like, yeah. And so she basically just barely touched my child and she never had gas again.
Magic hands.
It was incredible.
Never had gas. She's never farted since.
Oh,
that
she is
sounds unhealthy.
definitely. Oh, listen,
You're
she has
saying
farted.
she's never had
Don't
trapped
dox me.
gas.
Don't dox me, my daughter.
Yes. Good. Oh no.
I gotta go find that 4-year-old farting dance.
I mean, honestly, if Honest John heard about a child that didn't fart, he would be all over it.
You'd find a way to make a buck.
Yep.
No, later, but not in those first 3
Problematic,
months.
Not
like
just an
newborn.
infant hating.
Yes.
Yes. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
Hot
great.
tip.
Hot tip. Go to a cat chiropractor.
Take your babies to cat chiropractors.
Was that? Did we answer the question?
Yeah.
All right.
Taylor History goes on to comment and ask, I also remember the bad kids drinking and smoking a lot during this film. Do we think this was a huge problem among children when this film was made? Like, there are a bunch of 10 to 13-year-olds having crazy drinking parties?
I mean, I don't know about parties, but that was a big thing, right? Truancy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think probably. Even, I don't know if it's gone away. I lived a gentle childhood in terms of vice.
Same.
But I remember, like, friends in college be like, yeah, I was drinking at 12 years old and being like, what the fuck?
Oh, there was a kid in our high school who, don't talk to me, who like he like very famously like got drunk at a party one weekend and just like fell into the campfire.
Oh.
And then just like had a bunch of bandages on his arm for a month.
Oh, I'm glad he's okay.
Oh yeah, he was fine. And he even gave a speech at our commencement and made a joke about it.
I mean, I tried pot for the first time when I was like 13.
Molly.
Chase. I mean, it's legal in the Soviet Union.
And they
That's
were,
true. Or I mean, it's not, but like
really
you can get
not.
anything if you know the right guy.
But yeah, when I was 6 years old, there was this 14-year-old who thought it'd be really funny to teach me how to smoke.
Sure.
And I was able to blow smoke rings at 6.
Damn, could you dunk
At
them in your
6?
beer mug?
I mean, I
At
guess.
6,
I
you could
didn't
blow
have it.
smoke rings?
Yes.
What the fuck?
I know. And I wasn't able
Molly.
to do it as an adult.
You were
Cool
such a
it.
cool baby.
Cool, baby.
I know. I see like how old 6-year-olds are now, and I'm
Yeah.
like, this is an outrage.
That means that your daughter in 2 years is going to be blown.
No,
man.
she better not. I will come and find each and every one of you.
Are you talking to the three of us? Because it's definitely going to be one of us. Like, we got to know.
Yeah. Everybody knows we're big smokeheads.
Well, I mean, but I think all three of us just had the same thought of, does it pass down the line?
Yeah. Maybe it skips a generation.
Well, that's
Anyway,
We'll have to
they're
find out in
bad
2 years.
kids. Every generation.
I think also in 18 whatever, it was probably much more of a problem because, like, everybody was drinking so they wouldn't die from the water, right? So, like, they would like give some kids like a little bit of diluted wine, but like maybe some kids were like, I'm just going to keep going. And that was probably a problem because then they'd be like out on the streets puking their little guts out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Or
jeez.
kids.
But also,
All right. Is there a happier question?
Yeah.
Oh,
Or can we take maybe anything you give us will turn dark, but see what we can do here.
Okay. Ben Vist says, I have too many questions about Jiminy Cricket. Is he named after a mild explanation of shock, or did he originate it?
ooh, great question.
Jiminy Cricket.
Yeah.
Jiminy Cricket feels like fake Jesus Christ,
Yes,
right?
for
As
sure.
an
Yeah.
exclamation.
Absolutely.
JC, yeah.
Do you think it came from this movie though?
Yes.
It feels like, if following my Jesus logic,
Yeah.
it feels like an exclamation first.
Okay. So then it was like an LOL that he
Or
was
maybe
named Jiminy
someone
Cricket?
said it in the room, was like, Jiminy Cricket, I spilled my big glass of milk.
Uh-huh.
And they were like, Jiminy Cricket's a good name for a character.
Who's drinking milk in this situation?
Some creep.
Some creep at the Disney offices. Okay.
I don't feel like we can call it.
Yeah.
I think we got to look it up. We got to go to the internet.
Okay, put that on the list.
Okay.
So Molly's going to post on Discord in the following order: the size of a whale's anus, something else that I don't remember.
I got two. I wrote down. So here's what I've written down.
Okay.
2 truths and a lie.
Yep.
Future content. Weasel ?
Yep.
Whale anus.
Yep.
Thank you.
Ariel and Jiminy Cricket. And then I also wrote down Puss in Boots, the last one, as a reminder to myself to watch that
Okay.
movie.
So some of those might show up on Discord.
It would be much too scary for your child.
Oh, it might be too scary for me.
Isn't like the
some
whole plot of that movie that
wolf
some like Satan wolf is trying to steal dreams or some shit?
Yeah.
Whoa, jeez.
Got these sides. He looks badass.
Yeah, sides.
Sides.
Oh,
Yeah.
sides. I thought you meant sideburns.
No.
That'd be cool too.
That would be cool. Ben Vis goes on to ask, and When You Wish Upon a Star is such a foundational song for Disney. How did it end up in the mouth of a bug?
Whoa.
Shots fired at Jiminy.
Shots fired.
Wow.
It is a great song.
Great song.
Great song.
And he does it so well. He's got such a nice little voice, that cricket.
I mean, of course he would. Crickets sing.
Yeah.
Sure.
I was just thinking that. Crickets are musical creatures.
Don't they rub their legs together, though?
Yeah.
like a violin.
Yeah.
And they do it at night, so they would be thinking about stars.
Fair enough.
Wow. Makes perfect sense.
That's
Solved.
how.
Yeah, that's how
That
bad
one
it
we
is.
answered clearly.
Yes, for sure we did.
Yeah.
The only definitive answer you'll ever receive on this podcast.
Do you think it's weird that the Disney logo has the like little leitmotif from this song, but then has what's her name flying
Tinkerbell.
around instead of Cricket jumping around?
But then it's also Cinderella's castle.
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
So
they're
it's
just
just
trying to
their
they're just trying to
stuff.
cram it.
It's just all dreams.
Got it. Okay.
It's just all.
I
you
guess.
All
know.
dreams.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense. It's like all the their other logos for their IP where it's just like, hey, remember all these other things that we made? Here's the name.
Our rating scale, as we all remember, is Lettuce Geppettos,
Of course. Let us
Let
remember
us
our
remember.
rating scale.
which are lettuce sculptures.
Yes.
They're traditionally petable.
Yes.
Petable.
They are
Petable edible.
Ooh,
They're
petable
petable
edibles.
Uh-huh.
Lettuce Pettus Geppettos.
There it is. Yeah, lettuce geppettos were there. It is a skill. You are a lettuce geppetto if you are a participant in the lettuce carving, I believe.
Yeah.
And then I don't know
I
if you're.
like to think people cosplay as Geppetto.
Oh, they have to, right?
For sure.
Oh, real quick,
In
Dan,
town.
I think you brought this up in the first half. There is, in fact, a movie where Roberto Benigni, as a 50-year-old man, plays Pinocchio, the little boy.
Well, I was right?
Yeah.
Damn. Never seen it.
No, neither am I. I don't know if anyone has. But I looked it up when I was looking at this movie. I was like, oh, yeah, there's another Pinocchio movie. Yup, there he is, dressed in a terrifying costume.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, there it is. Yeah, maybe he's carving.
Maybe.
Maybe someone made a lettuce Geppetto out of old Pinocchio.
Oh.
I need to poke. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
What?
I got bubbled up into. I was trying to go panini somehow. Roberto Panini.
And
Okay.
you
A
lettuce
went
panini?
McDonald's?
Yeah.
Got it.
That was big. Cut
Cut this out.
Dun, 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 dun.
Put in the bong. Make a run for the border.
What is happening? Let us live, Moss.
Let us live, Moss. Fourth meal.
Fourth meal.
And fifth meal if you want.
Hey, might as well.
Fifth meal is, I don't know, Cookie Town.
That's just like peanut butter in the fridge, right?
Let's just
before bed.
remind us what are our ratings?
Dan, you gave it 4.
Yeah.
Cool and classic are my notes.
Cool and classic?
Yeah.
It was definitely a classic because there were moments that I remembered as they were happening. Like the whistle song, immediately as soon as it started, I'm just like, oh yeah, it's very catchy. Did not remember Figaro at all, and that was incredible surprise. Definitely didn't remember Gideon dunking a smoke donut, which was also incredible. Was it
Smonut?
Sure, I like it.
Okay.
Was it the best of the classic Disney films that we have consumed on this podcast? I don't know. I did enjoy it, so I think I'm going to stick with 4.
Okay. I support you.
Thank you.
Beth, you gave it 2. You said you couldn't see yourself enjoying this movie. And you had never seen it before, as a reminder to our listeners.
I actually liked it more than I thought I would, just because Jiminy Cricket was funnier than I thought he would be.
Indeed.
And I really enjoyed that cat. But otherwise, it's like kind of upsetting, like watching those boys get turned into donkeys and the whole whale thing. I don't know. So I'm going to it's going to go up to a 3 for me.
Also thinking about where the moisture came from for Pinocchio's tears.
Cowardly Pleasure Island.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, I am on Cowardly Pleasure Island.
If you stay a coward long enough, you'll make a jackass of yourself. Or maybe a different animal.
Yeah. What's the classic
coward you'd
animal?
be there is a coward one.
Yeah, there is. You're scared.
Scaredy cat.
Scaredy cat.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like there's another one,
another
though,
one
right?
that's like supposed
The
to be
cowardly lion, but that's
also a
that's
cat.
made up.
One. Yep.
Okay.
Well, Molly, post that as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
The most
Whatever it
classic
is.
Coward animal.
Yeah.
Coward.
I am next. I gave it a 4, thinking it would be fun and wild, but I was worried about problems.
Right.
And the problems didn't pay off the way I thought they would.
Pan out.
Yeah, what did I say?
Pay off.
Oh, okay.
Because you were hoping for it.
Yeah.
You're jonesing for
So
some
eager for some
classic
racial
racism.
stereotypes. In nearly 100-year-old movies.
Sorry. I just
87,
processed
is that
that.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to stick with 4. This is really fun. The narrative is pretty loose. It's sort of like not there. It's kind of almost vignettes. It's almost a couple different acts. But it looks great. Figaro looks amazing. Geppetto, I love Geppetto energy.
Hell yeah.
He's like a grandpa, but not. Yeah. And the donkey, it's like dark as hell with the donkeys. When Lamprey turns into a donkey, starts braying and like breaking all the glass, and there's so much chaos. That's legit.
And
like,
asking for his mom. He
horror
asked for his mom
stuff,
too. Yeah, it's just full on body horror for like 90 seconds.
Yeah, it's great. I loved it. Yep. Molly, you gave it a 3.5. You thought it would be a big improvement over probably watching it on a projector in school.
Yep.
And it would be a wild ride, but maybe hard to watch.
Well, a lot of it was correct in ways that I didn't imagine. One thing, I've never seen this before in my whole life.
Nice.
It became clear to me as I was watching it. I think I've only ever seen the iconic moments, probably from like clips put together. Although this does seem like the kind of movie they would have shown me, but they didn't, or I wasn't there that day. So, you know what? I loved the animation. It was incredible. It was a work of art. It was beautiful. I loved how much I felt things, even like genuinely felt things, even though it's a cartoon that's maybe a little disjointed. It was made in 1940. Like, I think we got to give it some room. And at no point did a woman marry somebody that she just met.
That's true.
Although honestly, Pinocchio rushes into things without thinking at all too. So maybe that's just like a major plot device that just gets applied across the board. But because there were so many princesses, we don't notice as much. I don't know. Also, fairies are so smart. So anyway, I will just say
But reckless.
a little reckless. Anyway, I really loved it. I enjoyed it. I thought it was great. I'm gonna go up to 4.
Nice.
Great.
Yeah, 4 lettuce.
Geppettuses.
Not a
Lettuces,
single
Geppettuses.
disqualified participant then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Great.
I was thinking
And
disqualified.
what awards did your lettuce japetuses win?
Great question.
I meant to saddle us all with this, but
Oh yeah.
maybe we can go around the horn one more time.
Let's do it.
The most Italian was a bowl of spaghetti.
Okay.
Wow.
That's a hard carve.
Yeah.
It was a hard carve. And the most petable was, of course, Figaro. In the most like sweet little pose. And that's it, right? Those are
Well,
the
you
two.
gave 4.
You gave 4, so.
Oh,
And you went the extra mile and described the object.
okay.
I was only asking for the award.
Yeah.
The most, the one you could, there's a version where you use those turkey knives, those electric knives on
Oh
turkeys.
yes.
Okay.
Electric carving
It's like
knife.
a speed round.
So you wanted
and
the
they
electric-
did
Electric round.
Yeah, they did the bus from Speed, and they even got like a
Oh.
Sandra Bullock driver in there. It was
Nice.
really spectacular.
Yeah.
And then the last one was like hand carved, truly hand carved. You're not allowed to use tools. Like you
Wow.
have to just kind of
Rip
use
it.
your fingernails and rip it creatively.
Wow.
And they did the Birth of Venus.
Wow.
And it was pretty spectacular.
That's great.
So
That's great.
that's who won.
Most Italian. It's a picture of Leonardo da Vinci just eating a big meatball.
Oh my God.
I guess it's not a picture; it's a sculpture. But he's in his like wingsuit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Hell yeah. Most petable. Just a big old dog. Just
Big
a
dog.
big
lettuce
old
dog.
dumb old dog. But like probably just his head because it's one head of lettuce. I assume,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
I mean, big lettuce, obviously, but
Yeah.
still. Most accurate explanation of the last scene of a movie: Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves having sex in the wreckage of a subway car. And most unsettling revisionist history: Geppetto in a backlit robe with visible dong.
These are all lettuce sculptures.
Yes, yes. To be clear,
Yeah. Yeah, 3 awards for your
Phew, I'm
lettuce.
glad that my rating was lower. Most Italian is a map of Italy.
nice.
Very Italian.
Most petable is Cleo the fish. Sexy
Nice.
water baby.
Hell yeah.
And most lettuce like just a head of lettuce.
Ooh,
Ooh,
abstract.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Uncarved. Wow.
Carved out of a head of lettuce?
I mean,
I mean, that would be impressive,
Incredible.
honestly.
yeah.
Like, if
Yeah.
you
Like a
carve-
tinier head of
yeah,
lettuce.
that's actually super impressive.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like, is it cake? Sort
Yeah.
of.
So,
Is it lettuce? Is it still lettuce?
Wait, that's one of mine. I want the award for is it cake but lettuce.
okay.
Most Italian is it's Ezio from Assassin's Creed 2.
But he's eating just like a big slice of pizza.
Yeah, he's got pizza knives.
Of course.
His hand blades are pizzas.
Yes.
Most petable is, of course, baby elephant.
Oh.
Doing the baby elephant walk. It's robotic lettuce.
Oh.
Somehow I've made it work. But then, of course, is it cake category. I carved lettuce cake. And for my 4th one, the No Regrettus Awards,
Nice.
it's Tony Hawk grinding on the third rail of the Speed subway bus.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah,
Amazing.
those are my awards.
This competition sounds awesome. Do we need to take a collective podcast trip to, I assume, Italy?
Town.
Oh,
Yeah.
town, right?
Italian town.
Let's all book our tickets to town. Check out Monstro's skeleton that's on display now, I assume,
sure,
in the
yeah.
museum on next to the
I mean, it is
coastline.
the museum. It's like
Oh,
the,
cool.
So,
Right. That's where the
Oh.
competitions, yeah.
Oh,
You have to
Yep.
carve
that's
inside
awesome.
the whale.
Yeah, and then we, of course, have to go to Honest John's grave.
That's
oh.
right.
R.I.P.
Gideon's still going strong, though. Gideon is eternal.
I mean, Gideon for like, you give him like $5
Yeah.
and he'll hit you over the head with a mallet.
Yeah. I mean,
Wow.
if that dude can
What a
Don't
deal.
give him $5.
Yeah.
Hit you over the head with a
if
mallet.
that dude can eat smoke, there's no way he can be killed. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Yeah. So cool.
very cool.
Don't smoke, kids.
Unless you can eat it.
Yeah. Yes.
That's kind of cigars, right?
What? No.
Smoke?
That's not eating. That's passive absorption through the gum tissue.
Okay.
That's not eating. You just shove a slice of bread in there and just like let it slosh around. You think you're eating?
Fair point.
Thank you.
It's 2 a.m. Podcast's over.
Totes Recall is hosted by Molly Chase, Beth Gibbs, Dan Jaquette, and Dan Linden. Produced by Beth Gibbs. New episodes of Totes Recall drop on the 15th of every month. For more information and bonus content, visit us at totesrecall.com. Thank you so much for listening.